Chapter 1389. The ancestral artifact fragment trembled, but it didn't submit. It whispered, "The ancient race duplication plan. The ancient race duplication plan." The members of Ancient Soul Hall and the giant god race were all stunned. Among the 10,000 primordial races, the number one race, the primordial race, had once dominated the wilderness and suppressed all other races. As for the highly intelligent Heaven's Legacy race, they attempted to replicate this bloodline and control the primordial race's perfect connate god-fiend bloodline. This plan was the ancient race duplication plan. He's from the Heaven's Legacy race. The three half-step god lords of Ancient Soul Hall were dazed for a few moments before guessing at Yu Heng's identity. The ancient race duplication plan was the Heaven's Legacy race's plan. Along the way, Yu Heng had been able to easily disarm the mechanisms and arrays of the Heaven's Legacy race. Moreover, Yu Heng was very familiar with this place and had the confidence of a map. It's actually the Heaven's Legacy race. Ancient God Jailsea's face was covered in shock and fear. The Heaven's Legacy race, one of the top 5 mythical races of the 10,000 ancient races. The Heaven's Legacy race wasn't particularly talented in combat, and they couldn't even compare to the Ancient Soul race. But the Heaven's Legacy race had its own reasons for being ranked third. Every member of Ancient Soul Hall looked at Yu Heng in a different light. They finally understood why the God Lord experts of Ancient Soul Hall were so obedient to God Lord Stellar Aspect. This was because Yu Heng and God Lord Stellar Aspect were both members of the Heaven's Legacy race. In the face of the third-ranked Heaven's Legacy race, the Ancient Soul race was truly insignificant. The Heaven's Legacy race's ancient race duplication plan succeeded. Xian Wuheng's gaze was deep as he muttered in confusion. The Heaven's Legacy race had vanished long ago, and countless years had passed since the ancient race duplication plan. Even the Divine Master experts who had survived since the primordial era might not be sure if this plan had succeeded or not. That's right. This is the result of our race's primordial race replication plan, Yu Heng proudly said as he stared at the ancestral artifact fragment. At this moment, Yu Heng acknowledged his identity as a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, and he also acknowledged the reason for his tyrannical bloodline. Everyone's gaze was fixed on Yu Heng, and their hearts were filled with shock. You are not a true ancient race member. The ancestral artifact fragment carefully examined Yu Heng. What? Ancient God Sundermount, Ancient God Jailsea, and the others were alarmed. The power that Yu Heng had displayed just now was world-shaking and intimidated all races. But the ancestral artifact fragment actually said that Yu Heng wasn't a true ancient race member. Let's attack together and seize the ancestral artifact fragment. Yu Heng snorted coldly. The ancient race bloodline in his body was incomplete. Yes, the 3 half-step god, lords of Ancient Soul Hall, answered and charged out. Although they trusted in Yu Heng's power, the ancestral artifact fragment wasn't easy to deal with. The 3 of them surrounded and attacked from 3 directions. As for Yu Heng, he was directly approaching the ancestral artifact fragment. What should we do? Ancient God Resplendence appeared rather flustered. At this moment, only 3 factions remained: Ancient Soul Hall, the ancestral artifact fragment, and the giant God Race team. Among them, their team was the weakest. Of their enemies, the Ancient Soul Hall team was the strongest. Let's wait and see, Xian Wuheng whispered. Although the situation was dire, they couldn't just leave like this. The giant god race had entered this place in order to gather as many resources as possible so that it could rise again. But to their surprise, Ancient Soul Hall had also sent people here, presumably with a significant harvest. This meant that Ancient Soul Hall would become even stronger than before. Moreover, Yu Heng and the 3 half-step god lords of Ancient Soul Hall were preparing to subdue the ancestral artifact fragment. Once they succeeded, Ancient Soul Hall would only get even stronger, and the giant god race would never be able to rise again and take revenge. Even so, the giant god race team did not dare to recklessly attack. Yu Hong had already activated the power of the ancient race. A casual attack from this terrifying power could instantly kill a rank 9 ancient god. Not even Xian Wuheng would dare to clash head-on with it. Ancestral artifact fragment. Give yourself up. Submitting to me is your honor. Yu Hong faintly smiled as he and the 3 half-step godlords of ancient Soul Hall surrounded the ancestral artifact fragment. You want me to submit to you? Keep dreaming. The ancestral artifact fragment indignantly said. Pop! The ancestral artifact fragment immediately began to exude powerful time energy, its dazzling white light illuminating the world. The 3 half-step godlords of ancient Soul Hall froze, the invisible time energy around them constantly twisting and distorting their bodies. Stubborn fool. Yu Heng's expression chilled as he descended. And then, the time energy exuded by the ancestral artifact fragment immediately crumbled the moment it touched Yu Heng's body. So powerful, truly terrifying. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall and the giant God Race team were all stunned by this sight. When the terrifying power of time touched Yu Heng's primordial race God-fiend body, it actually disintegrated. One had to realize that the time energy unleashed by the ancestral artifact fragment contained time law. Anyone below the God-Lord level would be helpless against it. Ancient race, God-Devil body. The ancestral artifact fragment spoke in a deep voice. The power of the ancient race was truly terrifying. Even though Yu Heng's bloodline was incomplete, he still possessed an unparalleled and tyrannical strength. Surrender. As Yu Heng approached, he slowly extended a hand. A terrifying beam of gold and silver light pierced through the void toward the ancestral artifact fragment. At this moment, his attack directly tore apart the surrounding time profundities and other restrictions. It traveled thousands of miles through space. Oh no! The ancestral artifact fragment grimaced. Buzz. BZZ. The fragment immediately began to exude a profound white light. At the same time, a peerlessly powerful time energy began to spread, forming a protective barrier that attempted to slow down Yu Heng's attack. But as the destructive beam of gold and silver light approached, the energy exuded by the fragment still crumbled, though it dissipated a little more slowly. The ancestral artifact fragment used this opening to flee in a streak of space-time light. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall immediately pursued. Unnecessary resistance. Yu Heng's expression was cold as he slightly raised his hands. Gold and silver lines began to emerge, exuding a dangerous energy that could shake the world. Not good. Yu Heng is about to use some secret art. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. At this moment, the dreamy silver ball in the God I dimension began to spin even faster, dreamy vortexes of light emerging from it. The 3 members of the giant God race felt their hearts tighten. The power that Yu Heng had displayed was simply too strong, and with the addition of 3 half-step God lords, there was basically no one here that could contend against him. The fleeing ancestral artifact fragment trembled slightly in fear when it saw this. At this moment, Yu Heng's eyes flashed as he used his secret art. A moment later, the dreadful energy on his body weakened, and some parts of his god-devil body began to turn transparent. With a thought, Yu Heng took out a white test tube the size of a finger from his interspatial dimension. A ball of gold and silver blood quietly flowed within the test tube. The blood flowed out of the test tube and into the mouth of Yu Heng's god-devil body. Boom! Yu Heng's energy instantly swelled, and that ancient energy that looked down on the world caused the bloodlines of all the nearby creatures to tremble. He's recovered his strength, and he's even stronger than before. Xian Wuheng was stunned. Not good. The fear in the ancestral artifact fragment's heart continued to climb. If this continued, it really would be captured by Yu Heng. At this moment, the ancestral artifact fragment sensed something. It changed directions and flew toward the ruined castle. Don't even think about escaping. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall doggedly pursued. Now that they knew who Yu Heng and God Lord Stellar Aspect were, They were filled with remorse for their previous actions and words, so they did their best to contribute. Suddenly, a white streak of light shot out of the ruined castle. Ancient god Chungyun. The members of the giant god race cried out in alarm. Because of the powerful space-time suppression, they had not sensed that ancient god Chungyun was hiding here. Zhao Feng was also alarmed, and he used the ability of his left eye to peer into the castle. However, the process was extremely difficult, and what he could see was abnormally distorted. So, the interior of the castle is an independent dimension. Zhao Feng immediately understood. He had tried to peer into the castle before, but he had no success. Now that ancient god Chungyun had emerged from the castle, he finally understood. Ancient god Chungyun rapidly approached the ancestral artifact fragment. "Stop him!" Ancient god Ice Jade called out in alarm. But it was too late. Ancient god Chungyun moved with incredible speed. The moment he touched the ancestral artifact fragment, he immediately sent some energy into it and used a secret art to coordinate with it. In a flash of light, the two of them fled into the ruined castle. Rather fast, Yu Heng stopped using his secret art and slowly approached the castle. "What should we do now?" The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall immediately turned to Yu Heng, ready to follow his orders. "Go in," Yu Heng indifferently said, appearing completely fearless. At the same time, his god devil body began to shrink, and the intimidating ancient energy began to fade, as if he was conserving energy. Then what about them? Ancient god Jailsi glanced at the giant god race. With the ancestral artifact fragment, nothing will be a problem. Yu Heng faintly smiled as he entered the castle. Their team was already far stronger than the giant god race's team. Once they obtained the ancestral artifact fragment, killing the giant god race team would be easy. Whoosh, the ancient Soul Hall team entered the ruined castle, their energy completely vanishing. The giant god race team and Zhao Feng stood in place, unsure what to do. "Brother Zhao, what do you think?" Xin Wuheng asked. Entering the ruined castle would undoubtedly be even more dangerous, but they also had no way of leaving this dimension. Moreover, if Yu Heng's team obtained the ancestral artifact fragment and began to plunder resources, the giant god race would never be able to rise again. "Let's go in and take a look," Zhao Feng firmly said after thinking for a few moments. Just now, when Yu Heng's team entered the ruined castle, the strange activity of his god's spiritual eye slowly calmed down. From this, one could see that his left eye was somewhat connected to the energy of the ancient race. If he wanted to uncover the secrets of his left eye, perhaps this was his only chance. Chapter 1390. The members of the giant god race wanted to enter the fortress. Everything inside was unknown, and the danger was too great. However, if ancient Soul Hall was even stronger, the giant god race would be at the greatest disadvantage. Moreover, they could not leave this dimension, so it was better to take a gamble. Zhao Feng's strength was engraved deep in their hearts. If Zhao Feng was willing to go with them, they would have an even greater chance of protecting themselves. Whoosh! Soon after, the group of people approached the ancient castle and rushed in through the gap. After a moment of space-time disorder, they felt the space-time suppression on their bodies grow even stronger, and their bodies sank. The world was a vast expanse of grotesque rocks, and the occasional bit of vegetation had long since withered. Such a barren place, but it's exuding such powerful time energy. Xin Wuheng's eyes dimmed. The moment they entered, they felt a powerful suppression. Ancient god Resplendence and ancient god Sundermount felt like they were stuck in a quagmire and found it difficult to move. Bzzz. Zhao Feng circulated his dark silver chaos origin divine power and immediately felt much more relaxed. At the same time, the chaos origin divine power absorbed the invisible time energy of the world and strengthened it. Just what kind of place is this? How could the suppression be so strong? Ancient god Sundermount's face turned red, and he immediately circulated his giant god race bloodline to feel a little better. Ancient god Chungyun should be up ahead, Xian Wuheng said after sensing through his message token. Ancient god Chungyun was with the ancestral artifact fragment, while the ancient Soul Hall group was pursuing the ancestral artifact fragment. The group then began to carefully move out. Firstly, the space-time suppression here was extremely strong. This also meant that they were all weakened. In addition, they had to be on guard against the ancient Soul Hall group and the ancestral artifact fragment. When the ancestral artifact fragment was complete, it was a time ancestral artifact, so it should not be affected here. And Yu Hong, who was using the energy of the ancient race, was even more domineering and disdainful. The space-time intent suppression here was extremely powerful, so their advance was extremely slow. It was possible to use all their strength to resist this suppression, but it would consume too much energy. One day later, slow down, Zhao Feng suddenly said. The suppression in this dimension was unprecedentedly strong. The suppression of his god spiritual eye was relatively small. The group immediately stopped. They all understood just how powerful Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was. It's the ancient Soul Hall group up ahead, Zhao Feng said in a low voice. The other people's expressions changed abruptly. Ancient Soul Hall and the giant god race were still enemies, but the appearance of the ancestral artifact fragment had temporarily changed their target. If they took the initiative to approach the ancient Soul Hall group, they would definitely be attacked. They stopped, Zhao Feng said again. Why is that? The members of the giant god race were somewhat confused. Logically speaking, given the strength of the ancient Soul Hall group and Yu Hong, they should have no need to fear the ancestral artifact fragment, but they had actually stopped for the time being. Charge over and take the ancestral artifact fragment, Ancient God JLC immediately said. There's no hurry. Yu Heng's expression was calm as he stared into the distance. In the middle of a spacious, rocky area stood a gigantic ancient tree. Its entire body was grayish-white and emitted an ancient aura, as if it was the center of this space, manipulating the power of time. But this ancient tree did not have a single leaf. Some parts of it had already festered, and broken branches had fallen to the ground. At a glance, it seemed like it was about to wither and die. Ancient God Chungyun was seated cross-legged at the base of the tree, the ancestral artifact fragment floating next to him. The three half-step god lords were all shocked and confused. Just what sort of tree is that? Ancient God Ice Jade asked. Even if the ancestral artifact fragment and ancient god Chungyun worked together, they were still far from being a match for them. But Yu Hong had chosen not to attack, probably because of that gray-white tree. This ancient tree appeared to be on the verge of withering, but all the time energy in the world seemed to be centered around it, so it was definitely no ordinary tree. The ancestral artifact fragment is guarding this place because of the tree of time, the core of this space. Yu Hong faintly smiled. The tree of time? The core? The three members of Ancient Soul Hall were confused. Alas, the tree of time is on the verge of withering. Otherwise, if we controlled the tree of time, we would be able to control this entire space. Yu Hong sighed. If he controlled this entire space, he would not be suppressed by this place, and his strength would even be boosted. When the time came, he would be able to pluck all the precious resources in this place. Alas, the tree of time seemed to be on the verge of withering and dying. Let's stay here for a while and return to peak condition. After Yu Hong finished speaking, his figure disappeared and he entered a separate cultivation space. There seems to be some unknown variable in that place. Yu Hong muttered. Perhaps it was because the tree of time and the ancestral artifact fragment were too high level, making it more difficult for him to speculate. Just in case, it was best to stay here for a while. Moreover, every time he used the power of the ancient race, it would have an extremely powerful side effect that required time to recover. On the other end, let's go around them and see what's going on up ahead, Zhao Feng straightforwardly said. The group took a detour around them and began to advance in a different direction. It didn't take long before Zhao Feng came to a stop in alarm. BZZE. Zhao Feng presented the scene he had seen to him. Ancient God Chungyun and the ancestral artifact fragment are both there. Ancient God Resplendent's eyes flashed. Xian Wuheng's eyes were focused on the gray-white tree. This ancient tree should be the core of this dimension, Xian Wuheng said after a few moments of thought. Core? The others were all taken aback. They could only tell that the ancient tree was extraordinary, but Xian Wuheng was the only one who could determine the specific use of the ash-gray ancient tree. Alas, it's about to wither. Otherwise, if we could control it, we might have been able to deal with ancient Soul Hall. Ancient God Resplendence regretfully said. At the very least, ancient Soul Hall can't control the core. Xian Wuheng said. This was actually good news. The Tree of Time was the core of this dimension and was of an extremely high level. Ordinary methods were simply incapable of reviving it. If they don't move, we won't move either. Zhao Feng entered the space-time robe dimension. The situation was urgent, so he needed to use every bit of time to increase his strength. Swish! Swish! Closing his eyes, several time resources appeared in front of Zhao Feng's eyes. These time resources had all been obtained from the ruins of the ancient fortress and were of extremely high quality. He divided his mind into two. One part absorbed the time essence of these resources, while the other used his chaos origin divine power to absorb time energy. At the same time, Zhao Feng removed the spatial isolation of the space-time robe, allowing the time energy from the outside world to enter and allowing the chaos origin divine power to absorb even more time energy. Within the space-time robe, in less than 5 days, Zhao Feng's time intent smoothly reached level 7. With my time intent at level 7, my chaos origin divine power has gotten much stronger. Zhao Feng was rather surprised. Although his time intent had already reached the peak of level 6, his time intent had been advancing too quickly and he hadn't had much time to familiarize himself with it. Logically speaking, it shouldn't have been so easy to advance. But in less than 5 days, he had broken through. The danger of the situation had stimulated Zhao Feng's potential. Moreover, the time suppression in this dimension was even stronger, and its energy was even purer, allowing Zhao Feng's chaos origin divine power to absorb it. Although his time intent had reached level 7, it only increased the power of his chaos origin divine power and made it more resistant to the suppression. It still wasn't very useful against the ancient Soul Hall group. For this reason, Zhao Feng did not rest and continued to consolidate his other intents. His space intent had reached level 8, his time intent had reached level 7, and many of his other intents were still stuck at peak level 6. Swish! Zhao Feng took out several intent cultivation resources. Although most of the precious materials in this space were related to the cultivation of the time profundity, there were also precious materials related to the cultivation of other profundities. In less than 10 days, Zhao Feng had raised his 5 elements and wind lightning intents to level 7. With this, his reserves were even firmer. Zhao Feng's mind sank into the divine stages in his Dantian. Whoosh! Whoosh! The final medicinal energy of the 9 Lotus Jade Life flower revolved around the nascent 9th divine stage. Zhao Feng immediately removed the layers of restrictions and began to absorb the medicinal energy. At the same time, Zhao Feng began to form his 9th divine stage. In the outside world, although the giant god race members were also cultivating, the aura of Zhao Feng's divine stages was so powerful that they could sense it. It didn't take long before a powerful bloodline fluctuation came from where Xian Wuheng was cultivating. At this critical moment, Xian Wuheng was doing his utmost to increase his strength. On the other side, it's about time, Yu Heng indifferently said. Bzz. Space rippled, and then the 3 half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall emerged. My injuries have healed, ancient god JLC immediately said. Of the 3, his injuries were the most severe. In order to quickly recover from his injuries, he had even used up all the extremely precious treasures he had obtained. Let's go. Our targets are the ancestral artifact fragment and the Tree of Time. Yu Heng faintly smiled. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall were startled. Anyone could see that the tree of time was on the verge of withering. Reviving it would be incredibly difficult. Not even a god lord would be able to do so. But Yu Hong had made it his target. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The ancient Soul Hall group approached the tree of time. As they approached, the time suppression they felt suddenly doubled. Beneath the tree of time, ancient god Chung Yin opened his eyes, the ancestral artifact fragment also exuding time ripples. Surrender. Yu Hong proudly stood up and shouted. The members of ancient Soul Hall faintly smiled. Once they obtained the ancestral artifact fragment, all of this would be over, and the ancient god seal would be easy to obtain. But at this moment, you're quite bold to intrude upon my race's forbidden ground. A powerful and ancient voice resounded from within the tree of time. This voice echoed endlessly through the world, giving off a chaotic feeling that space and time were in disarray. BZZ, a powerful bloodline aura, accompanied by the invisible power of time, spread into the surroundings. The bloodlines of the members of ancient Soul Hall trembled, and their bodies began to twist and contort under this powerful time energy. There's still someone else. Ancient god Ice Jade's eyes dimmed as she stared at the tree of time. So powerful. Ancient god Jail C warily said. This person's energy was extremely powerful, and this bloodline energy far surpassed that of the ancient soul race. It was at least in the top 10 ancient races. Yu Hong grimaced, and with a wave of his hand, he unleashed a mysterious shield of light to block this invisible energy. Bzzz. A ripple appeared on the trunk of the tree of time. An old figure slowly floated out from within. His body was extremely strange, formed from flowing white light. The moment he appeared, he began to draw upon the boundless time energy of the world, placing immense pressure on the members of Ancient Soul Hall. Chapter 1391. On the barren land, swish. Space-time ripples appeared, and then Zhao Feng, wearing the space-time robe, appeared. They begun to move. Zhao Feng inspected the distance, a look of surprise on his face. Only he could observe the ancient Soul Hall team and the situation with the Tree of Time. Bzzz. With a wave of his hand, a wave of space-time energy swept through the area. The giant god race team immediately ended their cultivation and appeared. Everyone else turned to Zhao Feng. At this moment, Zhao Feng's aura was even stronger and more profound. As the enormous time pressure approached Zhao Feng, the majority of it was devoured. As he stood there, Zhao Feng appeared extremely relaxed and indifferent. Zhao Feng, you broken into rank 9? Ancient God Resplendence asked in surprise. Zhao Feng had already reached peak rank 8 some time ago, and now that he was in seclusion, his aura was even stronger. He had definitely broken into rank 9. Correct. Zhao Feng nodded. Ancient God Resplendence and Ancient God Sundermount glanced at each other, unable to conceal the shock on their faces. In just a few months after entering the ruins, Zhao Feng had gone from rank 8 to rank 9. He was the one with the fastest cultivation speed of all of them. Ancient God Sundermount, who had interacted with Zhao Feng a long time ago, was even more shocked. When he first met Zhao Feng, he had only just broken into rank 8. Congratulations to Brother Zhao for advancing another level in strength, Xian Wuheng said with a smile. Before, Zhao Feng could easily crush a rank 9 and render even a half-step god Lord helpless. Now that he had broken through, his strength had definitely increased. This was a good thing for their team. Brother Xian, you've already become a half-step god lord, right? Zhao Feng's deep left eye examined Xian Wuheng as he spoke. Xian Wuheng was taken aback. He had never imagined that Zhao Feng would be able to so easily see through him. As long as he reached peak rank 9, becoming a half-step god lord wouldn't be a problem. He just needed some time to convert his divine power. They've already begun to move toward the Tree of Time. We can't fall behind. Zhao Feng went straight to the point. Then let's hurry over. We can't let Ancient Soul Hall succeed so easily. Ancient God Resplendence appeared rather worried. Swoosh! Zhao Feng and the others immediately approached the Tree of Time. Soon, the others could also see the situation near the Tree of Time. They're going to attack the ancestral artifact fragment. Ancient God Sundermount was alarmed. But right at this moment, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, an old man whose entire body was shimmering with white light leaped out of the trunk of the Tree of Time. An ancient, imperious voice could be heard. "How bold of you to trespass into the forbidden area of my tribe." At the same time, a powerful bloodline aura, accompanied by invisible time suppression, spread out in all directions. What happened? Ancient God Sundermount's body froze, his mind trembling. His cultivation and strength were the lowest among those present. So when the energy spread out, he was immediately unable to withstand it. "That's the light race." Exine Wuheng's eyes lit up. The light race? The others grimaced. The light race was ranked 7th among the 10,000 ancient races, reputed to be the fastest race in the fan universe. How could there be a light race here? Ancient God Resplendence was shocked and confused. The Tree of Time. This dimension seems to have been created by a light race expert, Exine Wuheng said after thinking for a few moments. These words caused everyone to grimace and fall into deep thought. The Tree of Time. The three members of Ancient Soul Hall stared at the light race expert in shock. If they didn't know that Yu Hong was a member of the Heaven's Legacy race, they would have already submitted to this light race expert. I didn't think that there would still be a member of the light race living in this dimension. Yu Hong faintly smiled as he carefully examined the translucent white elder. Heaven's Legacy race. The old man's eyes were fixed on Yu Hong. A terrifying bloodline power that could shake the entire 8 desolates slowly spread out. With the Tree of Time as the center, the time suppression in the world suddenly intensified. It was so powerful that the 3 half-step god lords of Ancient Soul Hall felt like their bodies were being restrained, and time seemed to slow to a crawl. Yu Hong immediately took out a jade talisman, which gave off a powerful energy and a trace of laws, and it protected his surroundings. "Since I've run into you, I'll completely exterminate you." Yu Hong showed no fear in the face of the light race expert's rage, a faint smile on his face the entire time. "I'll give the 3 of you a chance. If you can deal with this person, you will have a chance to become a God Lord." Yu Hong looked at the 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall and said he could not recklessly use his ancient race bloodline. If the 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall could help him deal with this light race expert, that would be for the best. The 3 half-step god lords were taken aback, and they began to hesitate. There's no need to worry. This person was probably revived not too long ago. His injuries are rather severe, and he can only use the strength of a half-step god lord. Yu Hong indifferently said, "Lord Twilight Valley." Ancient God Qingyan couldn't help but call out to the light race elder. He truly had used a secret art of the light race together with the ancestral artifact fragment to revive this light race expert. But he had only revived Twilight Valley. He had not completely recovered his strength. Twilight Valley's expression instantly darkened. If he was at his peak, he would have killed all the ants here when he showed up. Okay. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall saw the expressions on Ancient God Chung Yun and Twilight Valley's faces and knew that Yu Hong was telling the truth. Moreover, Yu Heng's promise was extremely tempting. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 half-step god lords charged forward. Accompanying them were 3 soul beasts. Darkwater Jail Dragon. One of Ancient God Jailsia's arms bizarrely transformed into black liquid and began to swell, transforming into a black dragon more than 1,000 feet long. Roar. The black dragon roared, fused with Ancient God Jailsia's soul beast, and then howled toward Twilight Valley. The ancient soul race dares to act so impudently in front of me. Twilight Valley's face chilled as he suddenly vanished. A moment later, Twilight Valley appeared behind Ancient God JLC. Strange ripples of energy began to emanate from Twilight Valley's body. With a wave of his hand, he unleashed a palm of wind composed of countless streams of white light. Oh no! Ancient God JLC grimaced in shock. In this dimension, The light race could be said to suffer no suppression and could even use instant movement. Ancient god JLC sensed Twilight Valley's sudden attack, but he was being affected by a powerful time energy. His thoughts and movements became extremely slow, making it impossible for him to react. Ice Jade Lotus Platform. Ancient god Ice Jade waved a slender hand, and an ice lotus platform immediately formed under ancient god JLC's feet. Twilight Valley's time energy was primarily used on ancient god JLC and had little effect on others. At the same time, ancient god Destruction Flow waved a palm, unleashing a roiling river of destruction. Whoosh! Ancient god Destruction Flow's soul beast fused with this river of destruction, making it even stronger. Moreover, ancient god Destruction Flow didn't need to expend any mental energy to control it. His soul beast would control his attacks and attack them. Swish! Twilight Valley's body blinked away. At the same time, his attack landed on ancient god JLC. Whoosh! A palm of flowing light pierced through the Ice Jade Lotus platform and through ancient god JLC's body. Plush! Ancient god JLC flew backward, vomiting blood. How could this be? Ancient god Ice Jade grimaced. Her defensive secret art was extremely effective against both physical and soul attacks. The light race has a time body. The time attacks they use target both the physical and soul, and they have extremely powerful piercing power. Yuhan called out from the rear. In the distance, Zhao Feng and the others were reeling in shock. This is the true light race. Ancient god Sundermount said in shock. At the same level, the three half-step god lords of the ancient soul race were no match for the light race. When do we strike? Ancient god Resplendence asked. There's no rush. Zhao Feng and Xan Wuheng said at the same time. The three members of the ancient soul race were easy to deal with, but Yu Hong was a member of the Heaven's Legacy race that far surpassed the light race, and he also possessed the power of the ancient race. Attack together. Ancient god Ice Jade's expression chilled as she called out. Darkwater Jail Dragon. Ancient god JLC's face was ghastly pale and savage as he slowly spread open his arms, transforming them into two Darkwater Jail Dragons. Roar. The two 10,000-foot-long Darkwater Jail Dragons roared at the soul, carrying with them a destructive power as they howled forward. World-shattering destruction. Ancient god Destruction Flow waved his hands, unleashing two pitch-black rivers of destructive energy. A serpentine soul beast swam back and forth within these rivers of destructive energy, controlling the pitch-black river to surround Twilight Valley. Arctic Ice Mountain. Ancient god Ice Jade raised her hands and began to form a spell. Hissus. A black shark soared into the sky, wreathed in a storm of ice and snow. It transformed into a massive mountain of ice that exuded a cold energy that could pierce through all things. Kill. The three half-step god lords roared in unison. Broom. The pitch-black river, the Darkwater Jail Dragon, and the massive mountain of ice all descended, sealing off Twilight Valley. The secret techniques used by the three half-step god lords were infused with powerful space energy. Their goal was to disrupt the world and prevent Twilight Valley from using instant movement to escape. Although the ancient soul race isn't ranked as high as the light race, it's not some weak race. Die. The era of the light race has long since passed. The three half-step god lords viciously stared at Twilight Valley. As long as they could kill him, they could, with the help of the Heaven's Legacy race, become god lords. In addition, killing the light race, which was ranked 7th among the ancient races, would be a supreme glory for the ancient soul race. How laughable! Twilight Valley sneered, his body surging with time energy. He brought his palms together, sending countless streams of energy surging toward them. Time obliteration. A ring-shaped time shockwave spread out from his palms. At this moment, white crystalline light illuminated the world. Wherever this time shockwave passed, all was silent, and everything in the world seemed to freeze. The attacks of the three half-step god lords rapidly weakened and began to dissipate. In the distance, The members of the giant god race sensed the irresistible shockwave of energy sweeping toward them. Law energy, the bodies, bloodlines, and even thoughts of the four present froze for a moment. Moreover, they were attacked by time energy. Their divine bodies and souls weakened, and a portion of their divine power vanished. Near Twilight Valley, plush, plush, plush. The bodies and souls of the three half-step god lords were bombarded by this law energy, causing them to vomit blood, their faces ghastly. How could they be so strong? Even when the three of us worked together, we weren't a match for them. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall were flabbergasted. The light race isn't something a weak race like you can offend. Twilight Valley floated in the air, his time body drawing upon the time energy of the world, as if telling everyone that he was the master of this place. Chapter 1392. The light race's Twilight Valley was fighting alone against three half-step god lords of the ancient soul race, and he still had the upper hand. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall bitterly stared at Twilight Valley, their figures extremely miserable. The three of you can't even handle a minor matter like this. Yu-Hung slightly shook his head. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall had extremely gloomy expressions. They had not expected for the difference in bloodlines between the ancient soul race and the light race to be so great. The three of them working together could not even deal with a single person. It's useless. Yu-Hung snorted once more. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall grimaced at these words. Now that they thought about it from start to finish, they had never played a significant role. If they needed Yu-Hung to take action at a time like this, they would have made no contribution at all. When the time came, they would have to depend on Yu-Hung and God Lord Stellar Aspect's moods if they wanted to get a generous reward. I'll have to trouble you to lay down a space sealing array. Ancient God Ice Jade called out. The light race was already extremely fast, and they were not suppressed in this dimension. They could also use instant movement, giving them the advantage of speed, just like Zhao Feng. They were far too difficult to deal with. No problem. With a flip of Yu-Hang's palm, a miniature silver array appeared. As it turned out, while the three half-step god lords were fighting with Twilight Valley, Yu-Hung had already begun to lay down this array. Go! Yu-Hung immediately threw out the array. Hisses. The miniature silver array floated into the air and began to expand, enveloping an area with a radius of nearly 500,000 li around the Tree of Time. At the edge of the array, I'm also within the range of the array, Zhao Feng suddenly said. As expected of the Heaven's Legacy race, Xin Wuheng muttered. Twilight Valley was simply too powerful, skilled in time and space intent. Ordinary space sealing arrays would probably be ineffective against him. Thus, Yu-Hung had the three half-step god lords hold down the light race experts from the very beginning. As for himself, he had secretly constructed a space sealing array. In addition, the space sealing array just so happened to include Zhao Feng. If this was the case, Zhao Feng wouldn't even be able to use instant movement to interfere. Heaven's Legacy race. Twilight Valley's gaze was profound as he stared at Yu-Hung. He naturally knew that this member of the Heaven's Legacy race was the most difficult to deal with. The ancestral artifact fragment and ancient god Qingyun had told him about Yu-Hang's control over the power of the ancient race. As a member of the light race, he was well aware of just how terrifying the number one ancient race was, so Twilight Valley did not recklessly attack Yu-Hung. Otherwise, he would have disregarded everything and killed Yu-Hung right from the start. In a little while, help me kill these three half-step god lords. This way, our chances of victory will be a little higher. Twilight Valley silently messaged the ancestral artifact fragment. In his current state, his chances of winning against Yu-Hung, who possessed the power of the ancient race, were low. If he had the ancestral artifact fragment, his chances would be even greater. When the time came, as long as they could swiftly kill the ancient Soul Hall trio, Yu-Hung would find it difficult to fight alone. Moreover, his bloodline would not last for long, so he would eventually lose. All right, The ancestral artifact fragment floated motionlessly. While it was outside, it had expended a great deal of energy to stop the locust moth race and restrain the ancient soul hall group. At this moment, it was recovering at full speed. Once the space sealing array was set up, the two of you attack. I'll support the two of you. Ancient God Ice Jade messaged the other two members of her race. Kill. Ancient God JLC and Ancient God Destruction Flow nodded and charged forward. Dark Sea Double Dragon Strike. Ancient God JLC brought his palms together, his arms transforming into waves of black water that rapidly expanded into a two-headed blackwater hell dragon. Whoosh! Ancient God JLC's soul beast entered the two-headed black dragon. This way, it could both increase the power of its attacks and reduce the mental burden on Ancient God JLC. Annihilation Vortex. Ancient God Destruction Flow did not back down and unleashed a pitch-black vortex. In the center of this vortex, one could faintly make out a savage dragon snake roaring and twisting. Truly ignorant, Twilight Valley bellowed as he waved his palms. Thwish! Two palms of wind, flowing with crystalline white light, slashed forward. In a flash, Ancient God Destruction Flow and Ancient God JLC were suppressed by time energy and seemed to enter a world in slow motion. The two palms of wind shot forward with lightning-fast speed. Don't even think about it. Ancient God Ice Jade's face chilled as a dark purple ice pearl appeared in her hand. Countless snowflakes danced within it. The moment the dark purple ice pearl appeared, it exuded a cold and sinister energy that could pierce into one's marrow. Nether Ice Barrier. Ancient God Ice Jade's palm slammed against the dark purple ice pearl, unleashing a terrifying cold energy that instantly filled the world. At the same time, dark gray Ice Jade armor appeared on the bodies of Ancient God Destruction Flow and Ancient God JLC. Swish! This time, Twilight Valley's time attack did not instantly pierce through the armor. Instead, it hissed and hissed. The Ice Jade armor blocked for a few moments before the time blade pierced through. But now, Twilight Valley's attack was weakened while Ancient God Destruction Flow and Ancient God JLC had already activated their secret defensive skills, so they did not suffer much damage. Oh, the supreme quality divine artifact of the Nether Ice race, the Deep Chill Pearl. Yu Hung faintly smiled. The ancient soul race naturally didn't have the ability to resist the power of the light race. However, Ancient God Ice Jade's Deep Chill Pearl was a supreme quality divine artifact of the 16th ranked Ice Nether race. It contained the power of the Ice Nether race and could somewhat resist the power of the light race. Thwish! Twilight Valley's eyes flashed as he transformed into a mysterious ray of light that dodged the attacks of the Ancient Soul Hall members. Kill! Ancient God Destruction Flow and Ancient God JLC chuckled as they once more charged at Twilight Valley. Of the three of them, Ancient God Ice Jade was the strongest precisely because of this supreme quality divine artifact. Freezing Mist. As Ancient God Ice Jade assisted the other two, she also used the supreme quality divine artifact, the Deep Chill Pearl, to attack. The Deep Chill Pearl began to blow out a gray-white mist made of drifting snowflakes. Swish! Ancient God Ice Jade's soul beast charged in, bringing with it the freezing mist to attack Twilight Valley. The freezing mist turned everything it passed into ice, and even the powerful time energy in the area was somewhat affected. Thwish! Twilight Valley transformed into a mysterious ray of light that flew through the world, dodging all the attacks of the three half-step God Lords. Stop him! Ancient God Destruction Flow and Ancient God JLC attacked with all their might, hoping to block Twilight Valley's path of escape. As long as Ancient God Ice Jade's attacks hit Twilight Valley, they would be able to somewhat affect his speed. This way, they would gradually gain the advantage. Swoosh swoosh. Twilight Valley continued to flee, apparently unable to fight back against the three half-step God Lords. Hedai. Ancient God JLC savagely laughed. The two Nether Sea JLC dragons immediately separated, turning into two Nether Sea JLC dragons that attacked Twilight Valley from two sides. In front of him was ancient god destruction, Flow's destruction vortex, and behind him was ancient god ice jade's freezing mist. It seemed like they were about to succeed and injure Twilight Valley for the first time. But at this moment, a powerful ripple of time law energy appeared in another direction. Ancient god Muyu extended his left hand, exuding time energy. Uish. In a flash of light, the ancestral artifact fragment appeared in Twilight Valley's hand. Dying. Twilight Valley gripped the ancestral artifact fragment, and his power swelled. Boundless time energy swept through the surroundings, distorting space itself. Previously, he had pretended to be in a weak position and was forced into desperate straits by the three half-step god lords. This way, the three half-step god lords would slowly lower their guard, and as he fled, he would occasionally close the distance between him and his enemies. With the ancestral artifact fragment in his hand, he was certain that he could instantly kill one or two half-step god lords. At this moment, a cold and indifferent laugh resounded through the air. Boom! In the distance, a tyrannical ancient energy that looked down on both past and present erupted. Boom! Uish! This tyrannical bloodline energy soared into the sky, accompanied by a mysterious golden-silver light that caused the world to tremble. The one who will die is you. The moment he finished speaking, Yuheng fired off a tyrannical golden-silver divine light. Kaboom! Crack! This golden-silver divine light shattered all the time energy in its path, and then shattered the attacks of the ancient Soul Hall trio. A moment later, Yuheng's attack arrived in front of Twilight Valley. Oh no! Twilight Valley grimaced in shock and immediately activated the ancestral artifact fragment. Buzz! BZZ! A crystalline barrier of white light appeared in front of him. This was a defensive barrier condensed from time law. Not only did it possess formidable defensive power, it could also weaken the power of an attack. Boom! Bang! The golden-silver divine light struck the barrier. A moment later, the white barrier shattered. Boom! Twilight Valley was injured by the remaining power of the attack, and his body flew backward, leaving a deep hole in the ground. So strong, the three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall were all stunned. They had done all they could to injure Twilight Valley, but Yuheng was able to shatter Twilight Valley's defensive secret art and heavily injure him. Even if it's only a half-finished product, it's not something a mere light race like you can contend against. Yuheng's lips perked up. At that instant, the power of time between the heavens and earth was suppressed by a domineering, ancient aura. It was like Yuheng was the only one left in the world, the only sovereign. He's intentionally letting us go first so that he can find a weakness in the light race experts and strike when the time is right. Ancient god Ice Jade's expression darkened. The light race was the leader of the 10,000 ancient races in terms of speed. Not even the ancient race could compare. Even if Yuheng used the power of the ancient race, he would not be able to quickly decide the outcome. On the contrary, his bloodline would not last long, and the light race might be able to turn defeat into victory. For this reason, Yuheng had the three members of ancient Soul Hall go first while he observed the battle, secretly preparing to strike at any moment. Although they knew that they had been used by Yuheng, they did not dare to complain. In addition, Yuheng's plan had succeeded. When he activated his ancient race bloodline, he had injured the light race. Victory was now decided. Lord Twilight Valley, ancient god Chang Yun anxiously rushed over. In order to revive Twilight Valley, he had consumed enormous amounts of energy and was no longer as strong as before. So he had been cultivating this entire time to recover. It really is the power of the ancient race. Twilight Valley slowly flew up, his somewhat pale face glaring at Yuheng, his face brimming with hate and unwillingness. At the edge of the space ceiling array, the members of the giant god race were preparing to approach the Tree of Time and help the light race fight against the ancient Soul Hall group. But this sudden development made them feel like they had been struck by lightning, and they immediately froze. How could this be? The members of the giant god race instantly grimaced. They had not expected for Yu Hong to use this sort of method to suddenly attack the light race experts. At this moment, even if they rushed over to help the light race, their chances were extremely slim. "Brother Zhao, what should we?" Xian Wuheng was just about to ask Zhao Feng when he suddenly realized that Zhao Feng's current state was rather strange. Hiss! Zhao Feng was holding his head in his hands, his brow tightly furrowed as he shook his head. Within the God-Eye dimension, the dreamy silver ball began to rapidly spin, layer after layer of dreamy mist spreading out. Glimmers of dreamy light appeared in Zhao Feng's eyes as he struck the air. Pop! Pop! The dreamy light struck the air and caused it to crack like a bubble. The three members of the giant god race were frightened out of their wits, and their bloodlines trembled in fear. Chapter 1393. Zhao Feng's eye began to glow with dreamy light as it struck the air. Pop! Pop! The dreamy light struck the air and caused it to crack like a bubble. The three members of the giant god race were frightened out of their wits, and their bloodlines trembled in fear. "Brother Zhao, what's wrong?" Ancient God Sundermount probingly asked. His eye, ancient God Resplendence, stared at Zhao Feng's left eye, her mind reeling in shock as she took several steps back. One had to realize that not even a God Lord could shatter this high-level dimension. But the energy unleashed by Zhao Feng's left eye was causing space to show signs of shattering. Bzzz. Under Zhao Feng's full control, his left eye gradually stabilized and the dreamy light vanished. "I'm fine." The dizziness and confusion in his soul had also vanished. Zhao Feng turned to the Tree of Time, his eyes darkening. "We underestimated the people of Ancient Soul Hall and the Heaven's Legacy race." Xian Wuheng sighed. "It's not like there's no chance. At the very least, the three half-step god lords of Ancient Soul Hall are all injured, and Yu Heng's ancient race energy has a time limit." Zhao Feng thought for a few moments before speaking. All of them had been so intimidated by the supreme power Yu Heng had displayed that they could no longer calmly analyze the situation. Okay, Xian Wuheng understood what Zhao Feng meant. They still had a chance. Whoosh! The group of four flew toward the Tree of Time. The Tree of Time? Damn, there are other enemies. A hint of despair appeared on Twilight Valley's hateful and unwilling face. "Your Excellency, they are enemies of Ancient Soul Hall." Ancient God, Cheng Yun said. Of course, Ancient God Cheng Yun was now completely under the control of the thought body. "That's still useless." Twilight Valley shook his head. Although the enemy of an enemy was a friend, even if the giant god race was willing to help them, their chances of victory were still minuscule. The Heaven's Legacy race's Yu Heng controlled some of the ancient race's energy. Not even the light race could contend against the power of the ancient race, much less the giant god race. Twilight Valley, that silver-haired brat isn't simple. He even tamed the Heaven's Legacy cat. The ancestral artifact fragment messaged. "Is that so? Heaven's Legacy cat?" Twilight Valley was taken aback as he examined Zhao Feng. "You finally come out. This is just right. I'll catch all of you in one go." Yu Heng looked at the giant god race approaching from the distance and began to laugh. If Zhao Feng and the others didn't appear, they would have to rest for a while after dealing with the light race and obtaining the ancestral artifact fragment before they could eliminate the giant god race. But now, the giant god race had rushed over while he was activating his bloodline. Since that was the case, he would solve all the problems at once. Boom! A primordial aura spread into the surroundings, causing everyone to feel suffocated and their blood vessels to tremble. Dying! Yu Heng quickly sent out a palm strike, targeting Zhao Feng and the others. Boom! A gold and silver divine light ignored all, piercing through the void and descending upon the giant god race group. Not good. Everyone's expression changed slightly. Xian Wuheng suddenly stepped forward, his giant god race bloodline activated, and white crystalline light illuminated the sky. At the same time, the energy of a five elements law began to slowly spread out. Ordinary energy could not even withstand a single blow from Yu Heng. Only the energy of a law had a chance of resisting. 5 elements law-shattering palm. Xi and Wuheng extended a palm, and 5 vortexes of energy of different colors appeared on his 5 massive fingers. Boom! As he thrust out his palm, a massive palm of 5 colored vortexes shot toward Yu Heng's attack with destructive momentum. But a moment later, boom! Bang! Xi and Wuheng's attack was pulverized, and the golden silver divine light continued onward. But Xi and Wuheng managed to block Yu Heng's attack for a few moments, giving the others time to dodge. Boom! That golden and silver divine light bombarded the ground, destroying everything it touched along the way. He managed to block it for a while. Yu Heng was rather surprised. At this time, Xi and Wuheng was already a half-step godlord. As a godlord his last life, he understood how to use a law, and with the giant god-race bloodline, he was essentially invincible against anyone below the godlord level. Heaven's legacy race died. Twilight Valley seized this chance to press toward Yu Heng. Twilight Valley swung the ancestral artifact fragment, unleashing a twisted blade of time energy. Hissus. This blade of time energy pierced through space, instantly arriving in front of Yu Heng and slashing down. When Twilight Valley was alive, he was at least a godlord expert and understood how to use a law. At this moment, he was using the ancestral artifact fragment to unleash a powerful time attack. An ordinary half-step godlord would have been powerless against this attack and would have been instantly slain. Even the 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall were somewhat worried about Yu Heng. This was an attack unleashed by a light race expert using the ancestral artifact fragment. Yu Heng sneered, and his ancient god-devil body exploded with an even more powerful bloodline energy. Bzzz. Swish. Gold and silver lines began to flow across his body, exuding a weak light. At a glance, Yu Heng seemed like 100,000 mountains, towering and suppressing all things in the world. Boom! Bang! At this moment, Twilight Valley's attack slammed into Yu Heng's body. But to everyone's surprise, the twisted blade of time energy only managed to cut a little deeper before its power abruptly weakened. Swoosh! The twisted blade of time energy continued to cut inward, but its power was fading even faster. Haha! Even if I only have 20 to 30% of the ancient race's bloodline power, you still can't do anything to my ancient god-devil body. Yu Heng raised his head and laughed. Swoosh! As the twisted blade of time energy continued to penetrate deeper, it began to run out of energy. Meanwhile, the wounds on Yu Heng's body rapidly healed. The ancient race. The 3 members of Ancient Soul Hall were dumbfounded. It was no wonder that the ancient race had been able to reign supreme over the countless races. The power of the ancient race was truly too inconceivable. In the distance, Zhao Feng was also stunned by this sight. Twilight Valley's attack, using the ancestral artifact fragment, was actually unable to do anything to Yu Heng. If that's the case, I'll attack from a soul. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. Although Yu Heng was incredibly powerful after activating his ancient race bloodline, his soul intent was still at the peak of rank 9. In a flash, a massive, dreamy silver eye appeared in the sky above Yu Heng's head, exuding a dreadful energy. At this moment, the desolate and tyrannical energy exuded by Yu Heng seemed to weaken a little. Yu Heng looked up at the sky with a puzzled look. His intuition told him that this eye was extremely unusual, and it even made him think of the 8 great god eyes. Gaze of the god eye. Zhao Feng used the eye of heaven to unleash a powerful soul eye bloodline technique. In the blink of an eye, a powerful soul-sucking force was emitted from the eye. The gaze of the god eye was even more powerful in the eye of heaven state, and even a half-step godlord would be affected. A soul-sucking eye bloodline technique. Ancient God JLC was taken aback. His injuries were rather severe, and even with his ancient soul body, he could sense a powerful suction force trying to pull him away. But on the other side, Yu Heng's smile only deepened. How could it be useless? Zhao Feng was stunned. When he used the gaze of the god eye on Yu Heng, He felt like he was trying to pull on a 10,000-foot-tall mountain with incredible difficulty. Yu Heng, on the other hand, stood motionless, ignorant. The ancient god-devil body is one with the soul and the body, supreme and flawless. Yu Heng loudly laughed as he waved his palm upward. In a flash, gold and silver divine light shot into the dreamy silver eye in the sky. Oh no, Zhao Feng grimaced, and his left eye began to pulse. He withdrew the eye of heaven as quickly as he could, but he was still half a second too late. Boom! An extremely small part of Yu Heng's attack had struck the eye of heaven, further affecting Zhao Feng's soul. Zhao Feng had always been supremely confident in his soul defense, but at this moment, he felt a pain even more intense than when his soul was split. The intense pain caused Zhao Feng to cry out in alarm, his hands clutching his head as he plummeted to the ground. Bzzz. The weak gold and silver divine light struck Zhao Feng's soul, destroying all, until it reached the god's spiritual eye. Ooish! In a flash, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye began to exude a dreamy vortex. Miraculously, the gold and silver divine light suddenly fell silent. The dreamy vortex then began to emit a suction force that absorbed the ancient race energy that had struck Zhao Feng's soul. Zhao Feng, the three members of the giant god race, appeared worried. The soul attack reached his soul, but he didn't die. The confusion in Yu Heng's eyes deepened. As he looked at Zhao Feng, his gaze gradually shifted to Zhao Feng's left eye. His left eye. Yu Heng's mind suddenly became uneasy. Go! At this moment, Xi and Wu Heng roared and charged forward. Members of the giant god race, if you help me repel them, I will reward you handsomely. Twilight Valley immediately said. When Xi and Wu Heng attacked just now, he sensed that Xi and Wu Heng was no ordinary half-step god lord. There was a high chance that he was a reincarnated god lord. If this was the case, if they worked together, they might be able to fight back. Leave no one alive. Yu Heng growled. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall charged forward as well. Scram! Xi and Wu Heng roared as he thrust out a finger. This finger was imbued with the powerful bloodline and physical strength of the giant god race, and Xi and Wu Heng's comprehension of laws. Broom! Boundless worldly pressure rumbled toward the three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall. Ancient god Destruction Flow and ancient god JLC were pushed back, and ancient god Ice Jade, who was skilled in defense, fared slightly better. Ooish! At this moment, ancient god Cheng Yun appeared at Xi and Wu Heng's side. Go and help Lord Twilight Valley, ancient god Cheng Yun said, and then he began to attack the three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall. After coming to the light race's forbidden ground, he had gotten much stronger, and he had mostly recovered from the exhaustion. Moreover, in this place he was not suppressed and was even stronger. At the same time, ancient god Resplendence, ancient god Thundercloud, and the little thieving cat also entered the battle to help ancient god Cheng Yun. The three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall were injured in the battle against Twilight Valley, and they had expended a great deal of energy. Ancient god Cheng Yun's group did not hope to defeat their opponents, only to hold them down. Boom! Bang! Crash! Terrifying beams of energy swept across the vast and barren land, causing the entire world to madly tremble. Only Zhao Feng quietly lay on the edge of the battlefield. Within the God Eye dimension, after absorbing the energy of the ancient race, the dreamy silver ball was restlessly spinning, exuding a dreamy mist that dyed the entire God Eye dimension dreamy and illusory. Zhao Feng's mind was immersed in the dreamy silver ball, where he could see blurry images. Chapter 1394. Zhao Feng pushed his left eye to its limits. Dreamy mist began to revolve and seep into the surrounding space-time before vanishing. There was no end to the battlefield, only endless explosions. What's going on? This energy? But the three members of Ancient Soul Hall were in hot pursuit. This was simply incomprehensible and absurd. His incredibly powerful attack that could kill an ordinary rank 9 ancient god had suddenly vanished without any warning. The primal chaos energy had transformed into a ball of dreamy colors. Each finger was enough to kill an ordinary rank 9. Ancient god Resplendence was injured by the shock waves of the attack, vomiting blood as she was sent flying several li. Ancient god Sundermount felt like 100,000 mountains were pressing down on his back, and a sense of impending doom engulfed his mind. Yes, Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley grimaced. They had just finished dealing with Xian Wuheng's attack when Twilight Valley's attack arrived. Retreat. Everything was covered in a dazzling light, making it seem like a dream. Broom. In this situation, the only way to survive was to use the God-Eye disintegration to weaken the attack. Zhao Feng's dazed expression suddenly transformed to one of delight. But with Yu Hong here, they simply couldn't go to Zhao Feng's aid. A moment later, Zhao Feng roared as he madly activated his left eye. The ball of primal chaos energy instantly pierced through the distance, destroying everything in its path as it arrived on the other side of the battlefield. But Ancient God Destruction Flow's attack did not change, and a deathly crisis descended. Don't even think about it. It seemed like this energy had always been illusory, and the slightest touch would cause it to vanish like a dream. Boom, bang, crash. Whoever he wanted dead would die. Damn, if not for Xian Wuheng, I would have definitely defeated the light race. Layer after layer of dreamy mist began to spread, dyeing the gray sky and earth in a dazzling light. Boom, bang, ooish, not far away hiss. Not good. Retreat. The two of them used all their strength to launch fierce attacks on Yu Hong. Zhao Feng was struck dumb. But at this moment, Twilight Valley gripped the ancestral artifact fragment and unleashed a twisted blade of time energy. Twilight Valley bellowed as he flew off with Xian Wuheng. At this moment, the surroundings collapsed, and all the figures in the vicinity retreated rapidly. In a one-on-one battle, none of them were a match for Yu Hong. The 3 half-step god lords rejoiced. Ancient God Destruction Flow's smile instantly froze. But just now, his attack was like a bubble that suddenly burst and disappeared. He couldn't feel anything at all. It was as if the river of destruction had never existed in the first place. The two of you are indeed difficult to deal with. Since that's the case, I'll get rid of everyone else first. Zhao Feng stared at the river and growled. At this moment, he couldn't use his god power as he wished, nor could he use his super fast speed. He could only try the god's spiritual eye. The two of them could work together to deal with Yu Hong, but once 3 half-step god lords joined the fray, the two of them would have no chance of victory. Xian Wuheng shouted. Xian Wuheng's figure moved quickly, and he kept pointing out colorful giant light fingers one after another. What's going on? Yu Hong said to himself. This what's going on? Based on what Yu Hong had said, he only had 20 to 30% of the ancient race's bloodline power. Where are you running? Just obediently accept your death. The world around him slowly returned to normal. During this period of time, wondrous and profound comprehensions began to flow into Zhao Feng's soul with great difficulty. But there was still some time energy that had some effect, blocking these attacks for a moment. Bzzz. Although the pitch-black river charging toward Zhao Feng was still pitch-black, it was now flowing with other colors, making it seem like a river of different colors. Whoosh! So powerful. Just what sort of battle is this? Thump thump. Thump thump. Broom. Zhao Feng's left eye stared at Ancient God Destruction Flow's attack and began to activate it. God Eye. Disintegration. Extinguish for me. Suddenly, he turned around and distanced himself from Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng. The slightest rustle in the wind was enough to make this ball of dreamy colors vanish. He struggled to his feet and stared at Ancient God Destruction Flow, but he realized that his mind was in chaos and he found it difficult to circulate his energy. A lowly ant like you dares to contend with me? Thuish. Yu Hong heartily laughed as the tyrannical ancient energy in his body surged out. This time, Energy Blade ignored the limits of the world and possessed the power to destroy all. The world rumbled as destructive shock waves rumbled through the surroundings. Zhao Feng's sole intent did not fall unconscious. Instead, it sank into the dreamy silver ball and saw blurry images. Earlier, Yu Heng believed that Zhao Feng had been struck by his attack and that his soul had been heavily injured, causing him to fall silent, so he ignored him. Time execution. Stalwart figures of various shapes and sizes appeared on the battlefield, their battle causing the heavens and earth to rend, the sun and moon to dim, and space-time to shatter. Yu Heng coldly laughed as he turned and charged at Xi and Wu Heng. To Zhao Feng's surprise, he succeeded. Zhao Feng's mind trembled. All the figures in this battle possessed strength far exceeding that of an ordinary god lord. These two fellows have grasped law energy and extremely rich combat experience. They're rather difficult to deal with, but they still have openings. Over there's also a huge shadow that could not be seen clearly. Suddenly, all the colors gathered on that layer of primal chaos energy. In this opening, the three half-step god lords finally had time to deal with the situation. This energy caused the bloodlines of the three half-step god lords, Twilight Valley, and Xi and Wu Heng, to tremble as they all looked over. At kill, all we need to do is hold him down. Once this kid's ancient race bloodline energy is exhausted, we'll win. With this thought, the dreamy silver ball in the God-Eye dimension began to spin even faster. So easily, this energy could be. Ancient God Destruction Flow savagely smiled as he approached Zhao Feng. Above the sky, an incomparably huge hand appeared, covering the sky and the sun, causing the entire land to darken even more. Ancient God Resplendence immediately suppressed her bloodline, shrank her body, and used a secret art to flee. Boom, bang, crash. He also knew that Zhao Feng could disintegrate attacks, but the speed of disintegration was not very fast, and the user could still sense the energy that was disintegrated. In the center of the battlefield, the image of an enormous god devil was unleashing a ball of primal chaos energy. Yu Heng's attack just now had killed Ancient God Sundermount and heavily injured Ancient God Resplendence and Ancient God Chengyan. Xi and Wu Heng was alarmed. Twilight Valley messaged Xi and Wu Heng. Zhao Feng's mind trembled. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. He had become like this because of the god's spiritual eye. Suddenly, two dazzling and dreamy colors appeared on the head of the blurry figure. Ancient God Destruction Flow immediately turned into a dark streak of light and shot toward Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng sensed danger approaching, but his head was still dizzy and swollen, and his mind was in chaos. He could not use any other energy as he wished. Not good. They're playing tricks. Zhao Feng, what do I do? What do I do? Zhao Feng let out a howl. Ancient God Destruction Flow. Kill him before he awakens. Xi and Wu Heng and Twilight Valley immediately began to flee. Layer after layer of dreamy mist began to spread. Zhao Feng flew into the air, but his body swayed back and forth in the air, his speed extremely slow. Yu Heng looked at Ancient God Resplendence and sneered. He waved his left palm through the air, sending a wave of gold and silver light howling in every direction. As for Zhao Feng, he was so fixated on this sight that he lost track of time. Although the wondrous sight before him left Zhao Feng in a daze, he didn't understand what was going on. Given his strength, none of Ancient God Resplendence, Ancient God Sundermount, or Chengyan would be able to take a single blow from him. No, earlier, the three of them were still depressed that they were being held down by this group of scoundrels. This was simply a massive humiliation. Zhao Feng's left eye began to pulse, and he felt a swelling pain. The primordial figure unleashed a ball of dreamy power that instantly obliterated the destructive attack. Twilight Valley had been heavily injured by a sneak attack, so his speed had been affected. Don't panic. I'll send you down right now. Zhao Feng, Yu Heng immediately called out. Ancient God Resplendence called out in alarm and hurriedly retreated. In this place, Zhao Feng couldn't even tell where the sky was and where the earth was. His thoughts were almost frozen, and everything in the world seemed to slow down. Die. But ancient god Sundermount was unable to escape the range of Yu Heng's attack. By the time the attack reached him, he had already been obliterated. Buzz. Bzz. A dreamy mist pierced through and began to analyze and disintegrate everything. The world in Zhao Feng's eyes underwent a massive transformation. Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley did their best to dodge, but they were still caught up in the shockwaves, and their injuries gradually worsened. However, the efficiency of this disintegration was extremely low. He was more shocked than anyone else present. Meow. In the distance, an astonishing energy suddenly rippled through the world. Boom. This was because even his ancient race bloodline was inexplicably throbbing. He had an ill foreboding. Giant God descending palm. On the other end, the giant god race, the little thieving cat, and the others were fiercely clashing with the three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall. Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng had already arrived. Die. Where do you think you're going? Ha! In the rear, Yu Heng was far faster than the three half-step god lords, and he quickly arrived. Yu Heng's brow creased as he dodged. This mystical energy, perhaps I can do it as well. It turned out that Yu Heng had never planned to completely slaughter the rest of them. Zhao Feng's eyes widened, and his soul trembled. Once the rest of them were killed by Yu Heng, no matter how powerful the two of them were, they wouldn't be able to stop Yu Heng and the three half-step god lords. The time energy blade instantly arrived in front of Yu Heng. He just knew that Zhao Feng couldn't just remain silent like this. At this moment, a chaotic battlefield appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. I can't control any other energy, but what about the god's spiritual eye? At this moment, if it was a true ancient race, just how terrifying would it be? All of Xian Wuheng's attacks were obliterated. Yu Heng's expression darkened as he began to think. Hurry and stop him. Bzz. On the ground, Zhao Feng's left eye began to glow with dreamy light, causing space and the earth to shatter and vanish like bubbles. Zhao Feng would probably still be heavily injured by ancient god destruction flow's attack, and he would find it hard to escape death. Xian Wuheng saw that his attack had been dodged and immediately used a large-scale combat skill. Yu Heng activated his ancient god devil body to take on Twilight Valley's attack. Xian Wuheng immediately called out. Zhao Feng inwardly called out. On the other side, ancient god Cheng Yun's injuries were slightly lighter. It seemed like 1 year, 10 years, or 100 years had passed. Ancient god Resplendent's mind and bloodline trembled in fear, her face stricken with despair. Each finger of light was imbued with the powerful bloodline energy of the giant god race and a sliver of law energy. But when these time blades struck Yu Heng's body, it was like a mountain had suddenly been reduced to a pebble that fell into a pool of water, creating only a tiny ripple. At the same time, the three half-step god lords charged forward, casting aside ancient god Resplendence and ancient god Cheng Yun. What a terrifying ancient race! No, ancient god Destruction Flow is coming. I have to. Although he was completely capable of taking on these attacks, the ancient race bloodline energy was limited, so it was best to conserve it as much as possible. Yu Heng grimaced. Ancient god Resplendence hissed. Hey, it's all over. Ancient god Ice Jade rejoiced, and the other two half-step god lords also smiled. In a one-on-one battle, he would have been able to quickly defeat Twilight Valley and seize the ancestral artifact fragment. Just now, he was trying out the move he had seen on the chaotic battlefield. I did it. Time stop. Buzz. Swoosh. The chaotic battlefield was covered in gray and fog, and Zhao Feng felt an immense pressure. It was apparent that this was not the case. It was no wonder that the ancient god race could look down on all the other races in the ancient desolate era. In just a short moment, those golden and silver divine lights were like a few giant meteors, destroying everything in their path and smashing down. Boom! Yu Heng sneered, and with a wave of his hand, the golden silver divine lights howled into the distance. Ancient god Sundermount. The little thieving cat was the first to sense the approaching danger, but it had already vanished in a streak of silver-gray light. but his head was dizzy and his consciousness was blurry. His left eye was swollen and painful, and there was nothing he could do. Ancient God Destruction Flow waved a hand, sending a pitch-black river of destruction toward Xiaofeng. Yu Heng heartily laughed as he madly approached Twilight Valley and Xian Wuang, occasionally unleashing a palm of gold and silver light. In comparison to Xian Wuheng, Twilight Valley's attacks were more troublesome. Yu Heng heartily laughed as he approached the other side of the battlefield. In the next moment, the dazzling black river suddenly burst like a bubble and disappeared without a trace. Extinguish. Suddenly, a heaven-shaking ripple came from the center of the boundless battlefield, causing Zhao Feng's mind to tremble, and he couldn't help but look over. Good. Yu Heng's coming. Broom. When the power of time came into contact with the gold-and-silver divine lights, it immediately crumbled apart. These blades of time energy contained immense time law energy. Yu Heng had no time to block them, so he could only take them head-on. Chapter 1395. In the distance, Twilight Valley, Xian Wuheng, Yu Heng, and the others in pursuit were also stunned. What was going on just now? Ancient God Ice Jade asked in alarm. Just a moment ago, Xiaofeng had just woken up and had no fighting power, and Ancient God Destruction Flow's attack was about to obliterate him. Suddenly, that endless pitch-black river of destruction dissipated just like that, and disappeared without a trace. Even someone of Ancient God Ice Jade's experience found it impossible to understand what was going on. Twilight Valley, didn't I say that this kid was rather unusual? The ancestral artifact fragment messaged. He truly is unusual, but just what was going on? Even Twilight Valley was rather confused. He was being pursued at the time, so he wasn't paying much attention to what was going on with Xiaofeng. This kid's eyes. Yu Heng's eyes were extremely gloomy. When Xiaofeng used an eye bloodline technique to dissolve Ancient God Destruction Flow's attack, his ancient race bloodline once more trembled. The ancient race was the number 1 bloodline of the 10,000 races. This inexplicable trembling made Yu Heng feel a little uneasy, and he wanted to immediately eliminate Xiaofeng. After using Origin Energy to erase Ancient God Destruction Flow's attack, Xiaofeng immediately felt his mind become much clearer. The dizziness and pain rapidly faded, and his consciousness slowly returned to normal. He seemed much more energetic. Perhaps it's because I accumulated too much Origin Energy in my Origin dimension. Now that I've released it all, I feel much better. Xiaofeng came to this conclusion. If this really was the case, then that eye bloodline technique he used just now had consumed so much Origin Energy. However, the power of it was worth the price. Let's call it God Eye Illusory Oblivion. Xiaofeng smiled faintly. This eye bloodline technique had similar effects to the God Eye Disintegration, but the difference in power was like night and day. This is impossible. Nearby, Ancient God Destruction Flow called out, still somewhat disbelieving. Nothing is impossible. Xiaofeng coldly snorted, and a pair of golden wings unfurled from his back. At this moment, he had completely recovered and could use all his energy as he pleased. Booish! His body transformed into a streak of light that shot toward Ancient God Destruction Flow. Although he was inside the space ceiling array, Xiaofeng's speed was still extremely fast without relying on the space profundity. Mixed Origin Divine Fist. Xiaofeng gathered his divine power and punched out a dark silver, chaotic light fist. These chaotic fists of light were surrounded by a strange, devouring force field. Along the way, they devoured the time energy of the world to strengthen themselves. That punch was simply unavoidable. This was because this punch had been accelerated to the limit by time intent, making Ancient God Destruction Flow feel like he was hallucinating. Boom! Ancient God Destruction Flow was sent flying, a trickle of blood trickling down the corner of his lips. Brat, I will definitely kill you. Ancient God Destruction Flow wiped away his blood and angrily glared. He didn't expect Xiaofeng, who was extremely weak just now, to recover so quickly. He was caught off guard. At this moment, Meow, a nimble cat, leapt out of the gloomy shadows, a silver dagger covered in runes slashing at ancient god destruction flow in a cold and sinister arc swoosh. The cold blade plunged into ancient god destruction flow's abdomen. In a flash, an extremely cold and sinister energy spread out, causing his bloodline and soul to tremble. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. Zhao Feng circulated tribulation, lightning energy, instantly forming a twisting ball of lightning flame that shot forward. Kakrak. A ball of lightning flame ignited an ancient god destruction flow's soul. At this moment, ice, fire, thunder, and lightning all attacked his body, causing his face to contort in pain. He was already injured, and now that he was being attacked by Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat, he became even weaker. Thuish. At this moment, ancient god Chungyun and ancient god Resplendence arrived and attacked ancient god Destruction Flow. Work together to kill this person first, Zhao Feng messaged. Only by killing a half-step god lord could they reverse the situation. No, you, ancient god Destruction Flow, still injured, hurriedly fled. Not good. If this continues, ancient god Destruction Flow will. Ancient god Ice Jade's expression chilled. After Zhao Feng woke up, he gave off a strange and unfathomable feeling. There was also that strange little thieving cat, and there was also the words of ancient god Chungyun and ancient god Resplendence. Ancient god Destruction Flow was highly likely to die here. Good. The situation is turning. Twilight Valley was elated as he gave Zhao Feng a few more glances. And Yu Heng's bloodline energy is much weaker than before. He probably won't be able to last much longer. Xi and Wu Heng also began to speculate. Damn, Zhao Feng, the Heaven's Legacy cat. Yu Heng's eyes flashed with anger as he gnashed his teeth. If not for Zhao Feng's sudden awakening, he might have already finished everything. Swish! Yu Heng took out a test tube the size of a finger and shattered it with a thought. A ball of gold and silver liquid entered his mouth. Oh no! Xin Wu Heng grimaced. He had seen this scene before, so he naturally understood what it meant. A moment later, boom! Yu Heng's massive body exploded with a formidable bloodline energy that seemed to restore him to his peak state. Ancient god Ice Jade and ancient god JLC felt their souls and bloodlines suppressed to the point where they wanted to prostrate themselves in worship. Bzzz. Swoosh. Yu Heng raised his hands, and gold and silver threads began to emerge, exuding a frightening and dangerous energy. What's going on? His bloodline energy has recovered. Twilight Valley was taken aback. Not good. He's also noticed the current situation and probably wants to end the battle as quickly as possible. Xin Wu Heng was deeply worried. At this moment, Yu Heng's bloodline energy had returned to its peak state, and he was apparently preparing to use some secret art. The ancient race was already incredibly powerful, and no one could compare to it. If he used this power to use a powerful secret art, not even he or Twilight Valley would be able to stop it. Time slash. Giant God Finger. At this crucial moment, the two of them unleashed powerful attacks in an attempt to interrupt Yu Heng. If they were a little slower, they could wear down Yu Heng's bloodline energy. Boom, bang, crash. The attacks of the two half-step god lords bombarded Yu Heng's body. Yu Heng had expected this, so he had already activated his ancient god-devil body to endure all this. Buzz. Bzzz. A massive gold and silver head condensed above Yu Heng's hands, exuding a heaven-shaking ancient energy. What is this? Ancient god Ice Jade and ancient god JLC couldn't help but tremble. When they looked into the eyes of that blurry gold and silver head, they felt like a supreme god devil from ancient times was looking down on them. Not good. We'll find it very difficult to block this move. Twilight Valley grimaced. The moment Yu Heng condensed this move, even he felt fear in his heart. Run. Xi and Wu Heng also sensed the dreadful energy contained in that gold and silver head. Swoosh, swoosh. The two of them began to flee into the distance. The greater the distance, the weaker the power of the attack. When the time came, the two of them might be able to block it if they used their full strength. Heh, ignorant! Yu Hung scornfully smiled as he watched Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng flee. Boom! He suddenly pushed forward with both palms, but his target was not Xian Wuheng or Twilight Valley, but Zhao Feng's side. We've been tricked. Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng were both stunned. As it turned out, Yu Heng's target was not the two of them, but Zhang Fun's group on the other side of the battlefield. The terrifying power of Yu Heng's secret art could instantly obliterate everything on that side of the battlefield. Boom! The world trembled as a supreme destructive pressure descended upon Zhao Feng, ancient god destruction flow, ancient god Cheng Yun, and the others, causing their blood to tremble and immobilize them. A moment later, the massive gold and silver head descended, its mouth wide open and exuding a powerful suction force. At this moment, it was incomparably difficult for everyone to resist this suction force, let alone escape. Oh no! Ancient god Cheng Yun's face trembled. Yu Heng's attack was so terrifying and destructive that it was impossible to dodge. No! Despair appeared on ancient god Resplendent's face. At this moment, she felt like an ant about to be crushed by a giant boulder with no chance of survival. Victory is still mine. Yu Heng faintly smiled. This attack of his could instantly annihilate Zhao Feng, ancient god Cheng Yun, ancient god Resplendence, and even the Heaven's Legacy cat. Once everyone else was eliminated, Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley would be nothing to worry about. Such a powerful attack. Zhao Feng's expression was extremely grim. God-eye, illusory oblivion. A look of determination appeared in his eyes as he activated the origin energy in his God-eye dimension. Yu Heng's attack was truly powerful and unstoppable. However, Zhao Feng had learned this technique from the ancient god devil on the primal battlefield. It had the mystical power to defy the heavens and change fate, so it was not impossible to fight back. Buzz. BZZZ. Origin energy began to surge out of the God-eye dimension, and dreamy mist began to seep out of the dreamy silver ball. The dreamy light in Zhao Feng's left eye was constantly changing, and dreamy mist began to revolve and seep into the surrounding space-time before vanishing. Zhao Feng's actions immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. This was because when ancient God Destruction Flow's attack inexplicably vanished, Zhao Feng was in the same situation. At the same level, not even the power of the 8 great god eyes can do anything to the ancient race. And yet you want to fight against me? Yu Heng immediately began to laugh. Zhao Feng ignored Yu Heng and began to madly gather his origin energy. Yu Heng's attack was extraordinary, and if he didn't have enough origin energy, it would have no effect. Suddenly, everything in Zhao Feng's eyes was covered in a dazzling light, making him feel like he was in a dreamy paradise, enchanting and enchanting. Extinguish. Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the gold and silver head. BZZE. A strange power enveloped the head that was filled with illusory colors and continuously seeped into it. Broom. The massive gold and silver head was about to swallow and annihilate everything. Suddenly, with a bang, the head turned into countless dreamy specks of light and disappeared without a trace. The quaking world instantly fell silent. Ancient God Resplendence and ancient God Cheng Yun, who were waiting for their deaths, were drenched in cold sweat. They stood in a daze, their minds seemingly short-circuiting. In the distance, Yu Heng's jaw dropped, and his eyes went slack in disbelief. This impossible. Chapter 1396. The chaotic world suddenly calmed down. Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief, a look of joy on his face. Just now, even he wondered if he could neutralize Yu Heng's attack. I'm saved. Ancient God Resplendence was dazed for a few moments before she recovered, a strange light flashing through her eyes as she looked at Zhao Feng. How did he do it? Ancient God, Cheng Yun muttered in shock. Meow. The little thieving cat jumped onto Zhao Feng's shoulder and began to flaunt its strength. In the distance, to think that it could have such a miraculous power. Xian Wuheng was also dazed as he looked at Zhao Feng in the distance, his heart filled with shock. At this moment, he once more understood that even if he inherited the power of his last life, Zhao Feng would still leave him in the dust. Could this be the ultimate power of the illusion Tao? Twilight Valley softly muttered. The ultimate power of the illusion Tao was to turn illusion into reality. It could turn the energy of an illusion into reality, and even turn reality into an illusion. How could this be? How would that kid do it? Ancient God Ice Jade was stunned and in disbelief. She was keenly aware of Zhao Feng's strength. So how could he have suddenly gotten so strong? Hurry and kill Ancient God Destruction Flow. Zhao Feng messaged. Luish. The little thieving cat was the first to attack, transforming into a silver-gray streak of light that shot toward Ancient God Destruction Flow. Swoosh! A cold silver blade plunged into Ancient God Destruction Flow's chest. At the same time, Ancient God Chung Yun attacked, his palm unleashing an endless stream of time energy blades. Ancient God Destruction Flow screamed. Chaos Origin God Suppressing Seal. Zhao Feng circulated large amounts of Chaos Origin Divine Power, forming a massive seal of turbid silver that pressed down. At the same time, the massive seal began to exude a strange, devouring energy that absorbed the energy of the world to strengthen itself. Boom! Bang! That turbid, dark silver seal directly pressed down. The enormous and heavy energy caused Ancient God Destruction Flow's entire body and soul to tremble, and he vomited several mouthfuls of blood. Bzzz. Then a distorted force field of chaos devoured his body and soul bit by bit. No, Ancient God Destruction Flow wanted to break free, but he was already heavily injured and had no strength to resist. A few moments later, Ancient God Destruction Flow was completely dead. Didn't you say that at the same level, not even the 8 great god eyes could do anything to you? Zhao Feng faintly smiled and looked at Yu Heng. Yu Heng's complexion changed. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't. Although Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extraordinary, all eye bloodlines in the world came from the god eye. He could not refute it. In addition, he had taken a special blood to recover his bloodline energy, but the powerful attack he unleashed had been countered by a rank 9 ancient god. No matter how he thought about it, Yu Heng was extremely depressed. Hey, you're a member of the Heaven's Legacy race. We don't want to offend you. Zhao Feng suddenly changed the topic. These words startled everyone at the scene. They didn't understand what he meant. What's wrong with this kid? Are you admitting defeat? Ancient God Ice Jade and Ancient God JLC were both rather surprised. Xian Wuheng also gave Zhao Feng a strange look, not knowing what he was planning. What do you mean? Yu Heng straightforwardly asked. Zhao Feng's awakening, neutralizing his secret art, and killing Ancient God Destruction Flow truly did lower his chances of victory, making the situation even more unpredictable. If Zhao Feng withdrew of his own accord, he truly would have a 100% chance of victory. However, he very much wanted to kill the thorn in his side, Zhao Feng, and capture the Heaven's Legacy cat. He was a mighty member of the Heaven's Legacy race, possessing the power of the ancient race bloodline, but he actually needed a rank 9 ancient god to withdraw in order to win. If his master and his clansmen were to learn of this, he would lose all his face. But Zhao Feng was far too bizarre. He was actually able to neutralize his ancient race energy. This caused Yu Heng to fall into a momentary silence. Yu Heng fell silent, but the light race faction could no longer restrain itself. If Zhao Feng withdrew, they would be the ones to suffer. My apologies, people of the light race. I am only an ordinary rank 9 ancient god, and the Heaven's Legacy race is the 3rd ranked ancient race. Zhao Feng apologetically looked at the light race. For a moment, Twilight Valley didn't know what to say. Truly, the Heaven's Legacy race was ranked 3rd among the 10,000 ancient races and was a mythical race. The light race had been destroyed precisely because of the Heaven's Legacy race. As an ordinary rank 9 ancient god, Zhao Feng truly had no need to fight to the death with the Heaven's Legacy race. Moreover, the strength Zhao Feng displayed at this moment was extraordinary. Yu Hong of the Heaven's Legacy race was highly likely to make peace with Zhao Feng's group. Meow meow. The little thieving cat immediately gestured at Twilight Valley and the ancestral artifact fragment. What? You want me to submit to your master? The ancestral artifact fragment grimaced. The little thieving cat had also made this suggestion before, but the ancestral artifact fragment didn't even care about ordinary god lords, much less a mere ancient god. But now, the ancestral artifact fragment had to take Zhao Feng seriously. This, Twilight Valley was instantly a loss for words. They had no relationship with Zhao Feng or the giant god race, so there was no need for them to risk their lives to help them. But the ancestral artifact fragment had been guarding this place this entire time and had been loyal to the light race. How could he promise the ancestral artifact fragment over this matter? Yu Heng's brow creased as he sensed that something was wrong. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed through his eyes. He understood that Zhao Feng had no intention of compromising with him, but wanted to con a light race. But at this moment, the ancestral artifact fragment suddenly spoke. Zhao Feng, as long as you help us defeat these people, I am willing to submit to you. The ancestral artifact fragment was willing to submit to Zhao Feng, but it had a condition. He had to defeat Ancient Soul Hall and Yu Hong. Ancestral artifact fragment? Okay, I agree. Zhao Feng revealed a look of pleasant surprise and conflicted expression, as if he was unable to endure the enormous temptation and had finally agreed. Meow meow. The little thieving cat snickered as if its plan had succeeded. Haha, how laughable. You're making it sound like you've already won. Yu Heng suddenly began to laugh. He just thought about it. Even if Zhao Feng really could unravel his power, Zhao Feng would have expended a significant amount of energy. Zhao Feng had just unraveled his secret art. He did not believe that Zhao Feng still had the ability to continue using that mysterious eye bloodline technique. Delish. After saying this, Yu Heng lunged at Zhao Feng. Hand over your life. Yu Heng's expression was cold and harsh, his killing intent chilling. Not good. Stop him. Xi and Wuheng and Twilight Valley immediately charged forward. At present, their main hope in dealing with Yu Heng was Zhao Feng. They could not allow anything to happen to him. Swoosh swoosh. Twilight Valley was rather fast. As he approached Yu Heng, he activated the ancestral artifact fragment and unleashed a blade of time energy. This blade of time energy ignored everything and descended behind Yu Heng. Boom! With a thought from Yu Heng, a gold and silver light erupted from his back and collided with the time energy blade, destroying it. As for himself, he continued to pursue Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng naturally could not just sit there and wait for Yu Heng to slaughter him. Delish. The golden wings on his back rapidly flapped, and his body transformed into a streak of golden light that shot off into the distance. In truth, Zhao Feng had expended a great deal of energy to use the god, illusory oblivion. Putting on that show with the little thieving cat was also to buy time so that he could recover his origin energy. Kill Zhao Feng first. Yu Heng roared. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two half-step god lords of Ancient Soul Hall also moved out. Chaos Origin Divine Fist. While Zhao Feng was running away, he threw out a few chaotic fists of silver light. At the same time, Twilight Valley and Xi and Wuheng caught up to Yu Heng. Time slash. Twilight Valley activated the ancestral artifact fragment, and a long and narrow blade of crystalline white light suddenly appeared in the air. Delish. The flowing light virtual blade, which was hundreds of feet long, pierced through the air. Even before it arrived, a powerful time energy engulfed Yu Heng and the two half-step god lords, causing them to slow down. Damn, the light race. Yu Heng's expression darkened. The light race was ranked 7th among the 10,000 ancient races and was extremely difficult to deal with. But since Zhao Feng could break his attack, he needed to kill Zhao Feng first. If Zhao Feng was allowed to recover, he would be in trouble. But Zhao Feng's space-time intent was powerful, and he had the supreme quality divine artifact, the space-time robe, so his speed was top class. Break! Yu Hong immediately stopped and swung his palm, smashing the huge flowing light blade into pieces. After dealing with Twilight Valley's attack, Yu Hong did not pursue. He quietly floated in the air, exuding the disdainful aura of supremacy. Swish! Another test tube the size of a finger appeared in front of him, within which flowed a golden silver blood. The sight of this test tube caused Xan Wuheng, Twilight Valley, and Zhao Feng to grimace. The blood in this test tube not only allowed Yu Hong to maintain his ancient race energy, but it also allowed Yu Hong to explode with even greater power. It's over. Yu Hong faintly smiled. Just now, the attack he had been storing up energy for had been broken by Zhao Feng. This time, after taking this item, he would unleash another supreme attack. His target would no longer be Zhao Feng, but Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley. As long as he killed one of them, everything would be over. No, hurry and stop him. Twilight Valley immediately called out. Just now, Yu Hong had swallowed this item and unleashed such a terrifying attack. Even if he and Xian Wuheng worked together, they were not confident in their ability to block it. How could it be like this? The Heaven's legacy race is truly difficult to deal with. Zhao Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. In this battle, the strongest was not the half-step godlord, nor was it the reincarnated Xian Wuheng, nor was it the awakened light race expert. Rather, it was this peak rank 9 member of the Heaven's legacy race. And at this moment, Zhao Feng truly did not have the ability to break Yu Heng's powerful attack. Boom! The attacks of Xian Wuheng and Twilight Valley rumbled toward Yu Heng. But a barrier of golden silver light suddenly appeared around Yu Heng's body. Any attack that touched this barrier would immediately begin to crumble and weaken. Crack! The test tube shattered, and a ball of golden silver blood fell into Yu Heng's mouth. Oh no! Xian Wuheng's expression darkened. After taking this item, Yu Heng's strength would reach an unprecedented level. At this moment, he even began to consider retreating. How could this be? Ancient God Resplendence and Ancient God Cheng Yun felt like the world had gone pitch black. They had just emerged from the darkness, but they were about to plunge back into it. No, this can't be allowed. Zhao Feng fully activated his left eye and focused on Yu Hong. God-eye illusory oblivion. Zhao Feng gathered all his origin energy into his left eye. Buzz. BZZ. Layers of dreamy mist began to seep into the world. In a flash, everything in front of Zhao Feng's eyes became dazzling and dreamlike. That's... Zhao Feng's eyes froze. At this moment, he saw a strange and dreamy liquid in Yu Heng's mouth flowing down his throat. It's you extinguished for me. Zhao Feng focused his mind on that dazzling and dreamy liquid. Whoosh! A moment later, the strange liquid suddenly crumbled and vanished. Zhao Feng's vision returned to normal. Yu Hong licked his lips and immediately cried out in alarm. Where's the medicine he just swallowed? Chapter 1397. It really works. Zhao Feng rejoiced. He had only been hoping to give it a try, but he had unexpectedly succeeded. One had to realize that Yu Hong was surrounded by defensive ancient race energy, and the item in Yu Heng's mouth was essentially a part of his body. Even without the space sealing array, Zhao Feng's spatial shift would have found it very difficult to take the item from Yu Heng's hand. The power of the ancient race could even easily shatter the light race's time energy, much less Zhao Feng's spatial shift. But the God-eye illusory oblivion had succeeded, destroying the item that had entered Yu Heng's body. What's going on? Everyone stared at Yu Hong. They imagined that Yu Hong would be loudly laughing and unleashing the powerful energy of the ancient race to attack. But at this moment, he had a look of shock and anger on his face. Yu Hong, what's wrong? Ancient God Ice Jade and Ancient God JLC looked in shock at Yu Hong. They had been waiting for Yu Hong to take the medicine and show off his divine might. But why was there nothing at all? Zhao Feng. Yu Hong suddenly turned his head to look at Zhao Feng, his eyes spitting fire. Just now, everyone was preparing to flee, but Zhao Feng had focused his left eye on him and used a mysterious eye bloodline technique. At the start, he didn't care, but he had never imagined that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique would be able to do this, break through his defenses without him noticing and make the item he had swallowed vanish. This is impossible. Yu Heng's expression was rather agitated. Earlier, Zhao Feng had unraveled his charged killing blow, and now he had made his medicine vanish. Moreover, that was the last bottle of medicine he had brought. Plush! Yu Heng vomited blood at this thought. Ever since he had started cultivating, he had never suffered such a loss at the hands of an outsider. This brat did it. Twilight Valley couldn't help but look at Zhao Feng. Just now, he had also sensed the powerful ancient energy and ripples of eye intent from Zhao Feng's left eye. Well done. Xian Wuheng smiled. Zhao Feng, I will tear you to pieces. Yu Heng suddenly roared and charged at Zhao Feng with a crazed look on his face. Zhao Feng had ruined his plans time and time again. Yu Heng didn't even think about the ancestral artifact fragment. All he wanted was to kill Zhao Feng. Stop him! Twilight Valley roared and charged forward with Xian Wuheng. Zhao Feng had contributed greatly to this battle. His incredible eye bloodline technique had rendered great service time and time again. They could not allow anything to happen to him. Time slash. Twilight Valley activated the ancestral artifact fragment, causing a long and narrow blade of crystalline light to appear in the air. However, after the white crystal flowing light void blade was formed, there was an unstable fluctuation. Looks like I'm really old. Twilight Valley's body was ghastly pale, and a trickle of blood trickled down the corner of his lips. He had just woken up, and he was already heavily injured. Then, he fought with Yu Heng again and again. His injuries had worsened, and he had consumed a lot of energy. Uish! Twilight Valley fiercely swung out a blade of flowing light several hundred feet long at Yu Heng. At the same time, Xian Wuheng's attack arrived. A giant palm formed from a 5-colored vortex shot forward in a destructive manner. Scram! Yu Heng roared, and then a frenzied surge of ancient race energy surged out of his body. At this moment, the world dimmed and quaked in chaos. Boom! Bang! Crash! Twilight Valley's time, slash, and Xian Wuheng's 5 elements law-shattering palm were both pulverized by this tyrannical energy. Yu Heng's eyes were bloodshot as he charged at Zhao Feng. What's going on? He seems to be even stronger than before. Ancient God Resplendent's eyes were filled with fear. His mind is a little muddled. He can't control the ancient race energy, which is why he's like this. Twilight Valley stared at Yu Heng and said, it's probably a side effect of the bloodline combined with Zhao Feng's provocation. Xian Wuheng analyzed. Every time he used the ancient race energy, there would be a massive side effect. Recently, Yu Heng had used the ancient race energy twice and had taken medicines many times to obtain more energy and extend the duration of his bloodline. This meant that before the bloodline energy could completely disappear, the side effect had already begun. The addition of Zhao Feng's provocation had affected Yu Heng's mind. Zhao Feng died. Yu Heng's eyes were bloodshot, and gold and silver blood was beginning to seep out of his massive body. That tyrannical and disdainful ancient race energy continued to pour out, wreaking havoc through the world. Uish! Zhao Feng swiftly fled, leaving Yu Heng behind. His bloodline energy is fading. Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye to carefully observe Yu Heng. Behind Yu Heng, Twilight Valley and Xian Wuheng were in hot pursuit, their attacks relentless. On one hand, they could slow down Yu Heng's speed, and, on the other hand, they could consume Yu Heng's bloodline energy. Not good. Yu Heng's situation isn't looking good. Ancient God JLC called out. The only thing we could do now is stop Zhao Feng. Ancient God Ice Jade said after some thought. As long as the two of them could stop Zhao Feng, Yu Heng would definitely be able to easily kill Zhao Feng. Once the knot in his heart was untied, he would wake up, and they would still have hope. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall circled around to Zhao Feng to stop him. Arctic ice mountain, world annihilation. The two of them unleashed their powerful battle skills. A pitch-black river and an icy mountain suddenly descended from the sky. Scram! Zhao Feng bellowed, gathering up chaos origin divine power into a fist of dark silver light that shot forward. At the same time, ancient god, Cheng Yun, and the little thieving cat came to reinforce him. Boom! Bang! Crash! The two sides clashed in a round of attacks, their power shaking the heavens. This brat's strength is already enough to fight against me. Ancient god JLC stared at Zhao Feng, a nasty grimace on his face and an awful feeling in his heart. Back then, Zhao Feng and Exine Wuheng had to work together and use all sorts of trump cards in order to defeat him. But now, Zhao Feng alone displayed the strength of a half-step godlord. Kill! At this moment, Yu Hong approached from the rear. But at this moment, his bloodline energy was much weaker. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. Zhao Feng aimed at Yu Heng's head, his left eye firing off a tribulation lightning flame. Cackrack! Countless bolts of tribulation lightning exploded on Yu Heng's head. At the same time, Twilight Valley slashed at Yu Heng's head with a white crystal blade. Giant God Finger. Exine Wuheng circulated his bloodline divine power and law comprehension as he thrust out a finger. For a moment, the attacks of the group completely engulfed Yu Heng's body. But Yu Hong was still in the ancient god-devil body state, and his perfect and powerful body blocked more than 90% of the damage. Once the explosion was over, Yu Hong charged out, but his target was not Zhao Feng. Retreat! Yu Hong yelled at Ancient God Ice Jade and Ancient God JLC. As it turned out, Yu Heng's mind had returned to normal after that round of attacks. His ancient race energy was gradually weakening, and his fighting power was no longer as great as before. In a direct battle, he had no chance of victory. Whoosh! 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 The two half-step godlords of ancient Soul Hall naturally knew that the situation was bad and began to retreat with Yu Hong. After him, Zhao Feng called out as he pursued. Although Yu Hong had regained his senses, his ancient race energy was rapidly fading and weakening. The two of you, pay attention to what's behind us. I'll contact Master, Yu Hong said as he fled. Once his ancient race energy was completely gone, they would probably die. Okay, Ancient God Ice Jade and Ancient God JLC rejoiced. The ancestral legacy treasury was too far from the ancient Soul Hall base. Ordinary communication methods were simply impossible to contact. However, the Heaven's Legacy race's Yu Hong had a way of contacting his master. Yu Heng's master was God, Lord Stellar Aspect, also a member of the Heaven's Legacy race. He possessed incredible abilities, and as long as they could get in touch with him, they still had hope. Swish! At this moment, Yu Hong waved his hand, and a black figure appeared. This figure was rather large, its entire body made of flesh and metal, and it exuded the powerful energy of a half-step godlord. This is a golem. Ancient God JLC's eyes brightened. Golems normally had no life and were controlled by others. However, this black figure exuded intense ripples of life. This is the Heaven's Legacy race's Death God Guard. Twilight Valley's expression darkened. The Heaven's Legacy race's golem technology truly was unparalleled, but these golems also had many flaws. For example, high-power golems were far too expensive to construct, were rather inflexible, and could not fight as well as experts of the same level. However, the Death God Guard developed by the Heaven's Legacy race was a fusion of life and machine. It had the advantages of both and was even stronger. Stop them. After giving the order, Yu Hong took out a silver-gray jade talisman. Swoosh, swoosh. With a flick of his finger, strange characters began to appear on the talisman. Not good. This is a special communication method of the Heaven's Legacy race. He's definitely trying to contact other members of the Heaven's Legacy race. At this sight, Twilight Valley grimaced once more. One Yu Hong was already so difficult to deal with. If other members of the Heaven's Legacy race arrived, the consequences would be unimaginable. In an empty space, a group of figures stood. In front of them were two complex Heaven's Legacy arrays. Godlord Stellar Aspect, my ancient soul hall only is ancient God Ice Jade and ancient God JLC left. Godlord Gloom Heaven excitedly said. At this point, ancient soul hall had already lost 3 peak rank 8s, 3 rank 9s, and 1 half-step Godlord. Yu Hong, just what are you doing? Why haven't you contacted your master yet? Godlord Stellar Aspect's expression darkened. Yu Hong was his disciple, so he naturally knew of Yu Heng's abilities. Logically speaking, Yu Hong should have no opponents in that dimension. So how could he have suffered such grievous losses? Damn, this Destiny Dao energy. Godlord Stellar Aspect was still affected by the Destiny Dao energy, so he could not speculate on Yu Heng's current situation. I will prepare to activate the teleportation array again. This time, this old man will personally go. Godlord Stellar Aspect's expression was extremely grim as he went up to the teleportation array and began to repair it. The members of Ancient Soul Hall were all stunned by these words. If there's anything you need, just say the word. Godlord Gloom Heaven's expression slightly softened. They all knew that the teleportation array consumed an enormous amount of energy. And this time they were transporting a Godlord, so the price was probably no small one. Chapter 1398. Not good. This is a special communication method of the Heaven's Legacy race. He's definitely trying to contact other members of the Heaven's Legacy race. At this sight, Twilight Valley grimaced once more. Wen Yuhong was already so difficult to deal with. If more members of the Heaven's Legacy race arrived, the consequences would be unthinkable. We have to stop him. Xian Wuheng's eyes were determined. Whoosh! Yu Heng's group of 3 and the Death God Guard continued to fly through the space ceiling array. They knew that once they left the array, the light race's Twilight Valley and Zhao Feng would be able to use instant movement. The rest of you, stop the others. I'll go after Yu Hong and stop him. Twilight Valley messaged the others. Okay. All of them immediately agreed. As a member of the light race, Twilight Valley was the fastest and the strongest person present. He had the best chance of victory against Yu Hong. Whoosh! The group charged forward at Ancient God JLC, Ancient God Ice Jade, and the Death God Guard. 5 elements wait. Xian Wuheng fused law energy into his body and immediately unleashed a powerful weight domain. In a flash, the 3 enemies were affected by the powerful gravity and found it very difficult to move. Whoosh! Zhao Feng approached Ancient God JLC. Blazing Soul Devil Eye. A scorching ball of illusion, Dao, energy, descended upon Ancient God JLC's soul. Ancient God JLC instantly felt his soul burn. At the same time, his mind became extremely agitated as many negative emotions surged out. Chaos Origin, God, Suppressing Seal. Zhao Feng quickly circulated his Chaos Origin divine power, condensing a massive and gloomy seal that pressed down on Ancient God JLC. This brat. Ancient God JLC was infuriated. In his first clash with Zhao Feng had to work together with Xian Wuheng in order to contend against him. But now, Zhao Feng was fighting him alone. Although he didn't want to admit it, the current Zhao Feng truly was extremely powerful, possessing the strength of a half-step godlord. The mountainous seal was about to come crashing down on them. Dead Sea of Hell. At this crucial moment, Ancient God JLC's body swelled up, transforming into a black wave. In this state, he was much less susceptible to illusion arts, and his defenses were much stronger. This move again, Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. The first time they encountered the Ancient Soul race, the enemy used a similar move. This kind of bloodline secret art of the Ancient Soul race could transform the soul into a powerful attack that could directly attack the opponent's soul. But if he failed, he would suffer heavy damage to himself. Suppress. Zhao Feng controlled the mountainous seal and smashed it towards the dark waves. The seal was surrounded by a strange force field that devoured all the energy around it, including ancient god Jalsia's black waves. Now that the Chaos Origin God-suppressing seal had a devouring attribute, it became stronger and stronger as it fought on, firmly holding onto ancient god Jalsi. God Eye Disintegration. Zhao Feng's left eye unleashed a dreamy mist that instantly began to analyze the black wave of ancient god Jalsi. Suddenly, the edge of the waves of the tranquil sea started to disappear for no reason. What's going on? It's that move again. Ancient god Jalsi was first alarmed, and then he angrily bellowed. He had seen Zhao Feng's god eye disintegration before, but as Zhao Feng continued to grow stronger and his god's spiritual eye evolved, the god eye disintegration became even stronger. Boom! At the same time, the Chaos Origin God-suppressing seal slammed down. No! The two attacks instantly unleashed power that caused ancient god Jalsi to scream in pain. Ancient god Jalsi wanted to resist, but he realized that he was getting weaker and weaker. How could this be? How could his eye bloodline be so powerful? Ancient god Jalsi stared at Zhao Feng's left eye. At this moment, the bloodline in his body began to fiercely tremble. Whoosh! The towering pitch-black wave gradually shrunk and turned into a small pitch-black stream. Dying! Zhao Feng had the ancient god seal crushed down once more. Rumble! The Chaos Origin divine power devoured it, and the god eye disintegration weakened it. The last stream of black water disappeared without a trace. Half-step god lord. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. This was his first time killing a half-step god lord on his own. After dealing with ancient god Jalsi, Zhao Feng turned to the other side. Boom! Bang! Crash! Ancient god Resplendence and ancient god Qingyun were working together to clash with ancient god Ice Jade. You think you can deal with me with just the two of you? Ancient god Ice Jade coldly roared as she slapped the deep chill pearl in her hand. Deep ice annihilation. The deep chill pearl unleashed an extremely frigid stream of snowflakes that froze everything in its path. Even the time energy in the air was affected. Whoosh! At the same time, ancient god Ice Jade Soul Beast charged into the snowflake stream. The black shark instantly turned gray-white and charged at ancient god Qingyun, accompanied by a frightening stream of snowflakes. Damn! This woman has a supreme quality divine artifact. Ancient god Qingyun clenched his teeth and gathered his powerful time energy into a white shield. Kaboom! As the gray-white shark descended, the surface of the white shield instantly shattered. However, the void shield's time power slightly slowed down the grayish-white shark's attack. But the astonishing ice energy penetrated the white shield and affected ancient god Resplendence and ancient god Qingyun, causing their bodies and souls to shiver in fear. The two of them probably won't be able to last. Zhao Feng's eyes dimmed as his left eye began to turn. Ancient god Ice Jade was the strongest of the three half-step god lords of ancient Soul Hall. She also had a supreme quality divine artifact. So even if ancient god Qingyun and ancient god Resplendence worked together, they truly would not be able to do anything to her. The two of you aren't a match for me. Ancient god Ice Jade heartily laughed as she unleashed even more powerful energy from the deep chill pearl. Roar! The gray-white shark roared, unleashing a wave of frigid energy that swept through the world. Crack! The white shield that ancient god Qingyun had unleashed with all his might was quickly frozen into ice and shattered. The two of you can die together. Ancient god Ice Jade coldly laughed. At this moment, the one who's going to die is you. An indifferent chuckle came from behind her. God Eye Duplication. Deep Ice Annihilation. A massive, dreamy silver eye suddenly appeared behind ancient god Ice Jade. Its astonishing ancient bloodline energy causing ancient god Ice Jade's soul to tremble in fear. Bzzz. A layer of dreamy mist spread out. Suddenly, a giant gray shark dashed out of the mist, bringing with it a monstrous snowflake and a cold current as it whizzed away. As it turned out, while ancient god Qingyun was blocking ancient god Ice Jade's attack, Zhao Feng had already begun the god eye duplication. Because he didn't have much origin energy left, Zhao Feng had to spend a little more time, but fortunately, he had succeeded. Zhao Feng no! Ancient god Ice Jade immediately screamed in fear. But it was all too late. The gray-white shark opened its savage maw and swallowed up ancient god Ice Jade. Delish. Zhao Feng swiftly approached and used the supreme quality divine artifact, the space-time robe, to withstand the onslaught of ice and take away the deep ice pearl. Ancient god Resplendence and ancient god Chengyun said nothing about Zhao Feng taking away the spoils of war, while Zhao Feng was killing ancient god Ice Jade. On the other side, Xen Wuheng was relying on his supreme strength to force the Death God Guard into a passive state of defense. Tribulation, Lightning, Eye Flame. Zhao Feng immediately fired off a Tribulation, Lightning, Eye Bloodline technique. At this moment, Zhao Feng could use this Eye Bloodline technique as he pleased and with incredible speed. Hiss! The Death God Guard immediately screamed. He was already finding it hard to block Xen Wuheng, and now that Zhao Feng had intervened, it was like adding hail to snow. Die! Xen Wuheng gathered up his bloodline and divine power, and with a single finger, he obliterated the Death God Guard's soul. Brother Zhao, your eye bloodline seems to have gotten even stronger. Xen Wuheng faintly smiled, and then he began to inspect Zhao Feng's left eye. Your eye bloodline is probably not simple. Ancient God, Chang Yun solemnly said. Previously, the tyrannical energy of the ancient race had completely masked the other bloodline energies. Moreover, the light race and giant god race were also present, so no one had noticed this. Now, Yu Heng's bloodline energy was gradually fading, and the light race was extremely weak after fighting for so long, its bloodline energy fading. Only now did the powerful bloodline energy of Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye begin to show itself. A bloodline energy close to the top 10 ancient races. Ancient god Cheng Yun was stunned after carefully sensing it. Broom! A deafening explosion came from the other side. No! Yu Heng roared in fury and disbelief. Ha! Heaven's legacy race, you're finished. Twilight Valley heartily laughed. Everyone couldn't help but look over. Yu Heng's attempt to send a message had been stopped by Twilight Valley. However, Twilight Valley also appeared extremely weak, and his body of crystalline white light was rather dim. It was obvious that he had paid a significant price to stop Yu Heng's message, but was all worth it. Not only had he stopped Yu Heng, the other side had also won a complete victory. Ancient God JLC, Ancient God Ice Jade, and the Death God Guard had all been killed. All dead. Yu Heng scanned the area in shock. He was the only one left, and only a sliver of his ancient race bloodline energy was left. Heaven's legacy race. Twilight Valley's eyes turned vicious as he waved a hand, unleashing a blade of time energy. Swish! A round metal shield appeared in Yu Heng's hand. A thick and powerful golden light screen immediately surged out from the golden round shield, forming a simple circular light shield that protected him within. Clink-clang. A time blade sliced through the golden light shield. After tearing open a crack with great difficulty, the time blade entered the shield. But its power was already very weak, and Yu Heng shattered it. A supreme quality divine artifact. Zhao Feng was taken aback. Yu Heng truly had a lot of good stuff on him. But what use was there in taking out a supreme quality divine artifact now? Now, he was the only one left, and his ancient race bloodline power had almost completely disappeared. Whoosh! The group began to approach Yu Heng. Heaven's legacy race, you've lost this time. Ancient God, Cheng Yun couldn't help but laugh. All of them arrived in front of Yu Heng, their eyes cold, or brimming with killing intent. Damn, the Heaven's legacy race won't let you go. Yu Heng's face was resolute as he scanned the group. He had never imagined that he, a member of the Heaven's legacy race who possessed the power of the ancient race, would lose to this group. Chapter 1399. Damn, the Heaven's legacy race won't let you go. Yu Heng's face was stern as he glanced at the group of people in front of him. He had never imagined that he, a member of the Heaven's legacy race who possessed the power of the ancient race, would lose to this group. Zhao Feng, you ruin my plans. You will die a horrible death. Yu Heng's gaze fell on Zhao Feng. His defeat this time was almost entirely due to Zhao Feng. You should worry about yourself first. Zhao Feng's expression was cold and indifferent. Now that the grudge between him and Yu Heng had been formed, Yu Heng had to die. Yeah, even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time. Yu Heng suddenly sneered. He circulated the remaining ancient race bloodline energy in his body and formed a spell with his hands. Buzz. BZZ. Translucent characters of the Heaven's legacy race floated out, imbued with mysterious energy. What's he doing? Xin Wuheng grimaced. Although Yu Heng was the only one left, he was a member of the Heaven's legacy race, and no one had ever underestimated him. Zhao Feng also had a bad feeling and began to cautiously retreat. It wasn't just Zhao Feng. Everyone else was retreating, staring at Yu Heng to make sure that he didn't use some sort of secret art to escape. Haha, Heaven's legacy cat. Where do you think you're going? Yu Heng savagely smiled. Buzz. BZZ. The translucent characters of the Heaven's legacy race shot into the little thieving cat's body with incredible speed. Little thieving cat. Zhao Feng immediately called out in alarm. He had never expected Yu Heng to attack the little thieving cat in the end. Everyone couldn't help but stare at the little thieving cat. Meow meow. The little thieving cat dropped to the ground, its screams echoing through the air. A fiery brand composed of Heaven's legacy race characters slowly appeared on its forehead and began to burn. Little thieving cat. Zhao Feng immediately called out in alarm. This was the first time he had heard the little thieving cat make such a wretched cry. Through the contract, he could feel the little thieving cat's pain. What did you do to it? Zhao Feng angrily glared as his left eye began to circulate. Hee. I advise you not to attack me. Yu Heng sneered, not the slightest bit worried. Meow meow, the little thieving cat howled as it slowly walked towards Yu Heng. At this moment, the little thieving cat's master was no longer Zhao Feng, but Yu Heng. This scene caused everyone's faces to freeze in astonishment. The Heaven's legacy cat is the crystallization of our Heaven's legacy race's wisdom. In order to restrain this powerful energy, the Heaven's legacy race planted a corresponding restriction in its body during its research. Yu Heng said proudly. Originally, he had planned to use this secret art to capture the Heaven's legacy cat after killing everyone else. He didn't expect that in the end. He could only use this move to save his life. There is such a thing. Zhao Feng's face was filled with rage. Of course, given the style of the Heaven's legacy race, it was very normal for them to do something like this. For example, the majority of important Heaven's legacy race buildings were equipped with self-destruct mechanisms. If you attack me, I'll just obliterate the Heaven's legacy cat. Yu Heng viciously glared at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng stared at Yu Heng, but he did not attack. The little thieving cat had accompanied him ever since he was in the Broken Moon clan, experiencing countless hardships all the way to the ancient desolate realm of gods. Zhao Feng could not bear to let the little thieving cat be obliterated like this. However, Yu Heng's goal in controlling the little thieving cat was probably to escape. Zhao Feng could not attack because of the little thieving cat, but the light race would never let Yu Heng go. When the time came, would he have to ally with the giant god race to deal with the light race? If anything happens to me, the Heaven's legacy cat will accompany me in death. Yu Heng sneered, stood up, and then slowly began to retreat. The giant god race members stood motionless. The light race members viciously glared at Yu Heng, clearly conflicted. Haha, let's go, Heaven's legacy cat. Yu Heng laughed and left with the little thieving cat. Originally, Yu Heng had wanted to drag someone down with him before he died so that he wouldn't let Zhao Feng have an easy time. However, the little thieving cat seemed to have an extremely high status in Zhao Feng's heart, and Zhao Feng's influence here was not ordinary either. Moreover, he was with the giant god race, so even the light race didn't dare to recklessly attack. Meow meow. The little thieving cat struggled with all its might, but the more it resisted, the fiercer the white flame on its forehead burned. It seemed to be burning every cell in its body and even its soul. The little thieving cat looked at Zhao Feng, helplessness, pleading, and pain in its eyes. Zhao Feng also had a bad feeling as he looked at the little thieving cat. I wonder if I can use the god I illusory oblivion to neutralize this technique. With a flash of inspiration, Zhao Feng activated his left eye. You dare to attack me? In the distance, Yu Heng, who was just preparing to leave, grimaced and immediately called out. But when he sensed that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique was not locked onto him, but the little thieving cat, Yu Heng breathed a sigh of relief. Bzzz. A dreamy mist spun out of Zhao Feng's left eye and seeped into the surrounding space. Such powerful, ancient energy. This kid's eye seems to be close to the god eye level. Yu Heng's expression darkened. He had previously relied on his ancient race bloodline to look down on other bloodlines. But it was precisely because of Zhao Feng's outrageous eye bloodline technique that he had been defeated so badly. Only now did he value Zhao Feng's eye bloodline. Haha, I don't believe that you have the extra strength to use that mysterious eye bloodline technique. Yu Heng chuckled. The moment he said this, Yu Heng felt a little unsure. In normal circumstances, Zhao Feng had expended a great deal of energy and didn't have the extra strength to neutralize the secret technique that controlled the Heaven's Legacy cat. But Zhao Feng had given him far too many surprises. Stop, or else I'll kill the Heaven's Legacy cat all the same. Yu Heng roared. But Zhao Feng had already used his eye bloodline technique. At this moment, the world in front of him was filled with all kinds of colors, as dazzling as a dreamy paradise. Zhao Feng's mind was completely focused on the Heaven's Legacy race flame on the little thieving cat's forehead. Extinguish for me. Zhao Feng activated his dream origin energy and focused all his attention on the mysterious flame. Bzzz. The mysterious flame flickered a few times, but it did not go out and continued to burn. It's no good. I've consumed too much origin energy in the previous battles. I can't erase it. Zhao Feng's eyes dimmed as a hint of disappointment flashed through them. Haha, useless effort. Yu Heng immediately laughed. The others also shook their heads. The light race's Twilight Valley began to gather his divine power and was about to attack. No, I have to save the little thieving cat. A determined look appeared in Zhao Feng's eyes as he once more focused his left eye on the mysterious flame. If I can't erase you, weakening your power should be fine. Zhao Feng said to himself. If his origin energy was insufficient and he couldn't erase it, could he suppress the mysterious flame and weaken it? As long as he weakened the flame, the little thieving cat should be able to put up some resistance. Weaken. All of Zhao Feng's thoughts were focused on the ball of flame as he roared in his heart. However, the god eye illusory oblivion was something that Zhao Feng had learned from somewhere else, so he knew how to use it. But at this time, Zhao Feng could only do his best. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to weaken and shrink that ball of flame. Bzzz. Within the god eye dimension, the dreamy silver ball fiercely trembled. At this moment, something strange happened. The flame on the little thieving cat's forehead was suddenly covered in a dreamy hue, and then the flame suddenly weakened, as if it had been doused with water. The flame that had been the size of an infant's fist was now only the size of a fingernail. Success. Zhao Feng found it somewhat hard to believe. He hadn't completely used the god eye illusory oblivion, nor had he used any other eye bloodline techniques. But just as he expected, the flame had weakened. This was simply unimaginable. Could this be the god's spiritual eyes, origin Tao? This is what's going on. Yu Heng naturally noticed this as well, and he immediately cried out in alarm. Meow meow. The little thieving cat's pain abruptly lessened, and its control over the flame seemed to weaken. Booish. The little thieving cat transformed into a silver-gray streak of light that immediately flew toward Zhao Feng. No, don't go. Yu Heng grimaced. Once the little thieving cat was some distance away from Yu Hong. The flame on its forehead was extinguished. As it turned out, using this secret art to control the Heaven's Legacy Cat was limited to a certain range. Okay, Twilight Valley immediately called out. Although he didn't know how Zhao Feng had done it, as long as he could save the Heaven's Legacy Cat, everything would be fine. At this moment, everyone could even more clearly sense the powerful ancient energy of Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye. Kill! Twilight Valley roared as he prepared to attack. Let me kill him, Zhao Feng suddenly said. Once Twilight Valley agreed, he used instant movement. Swish! Now that he had left the range of the space ceiling array, Zhao Feng used instant movement to appear at Yu Hang's side. Impossible! How could your eye be so powerful? Yu Hang appeared somewhat crazed as he roared. The power displayed by Zhao Feng's God spiritual eye had long ago surpassed his understanding. 9 Lightning Soul Refinement. Zhao Feng took out the 9 Lightning Soul Refining Mirror and poured divine power into it. Swish! In an instant, 9 lightning chains shot out of the mirror and wrapped around Yu Hang's soul. At this time, Yu Hang was only an ordinary peak rank 9, and he was also heavily injured and weak. How could he resist the power of a supreme quality divine artifact? Your eye is already close to the God Eye level, but all eye bloodlines in the world originate from the 8 great God Eyes. But your eye? Even as death approached, Yu Hang stared at Zhao Feng's left eye, his mind rapidly turning. No! Could your eye be the 9th dash? Yu Hang suddenly thought of something and roared. Collect! Zhao Feng activated the 9 lightning soul refining mirror. Klingling! The 9 chains of lightning dragged Yu Hang's soul into the mirror. I'll let you have a taste of endless lightning torture. Zhao Feng grunted. Meow! The little thieving cat landed on Zhao Feng's shoulder and rubbed against Zhao Feng's neck. Dead! Twilight Valley softly sighed. Everyone present breathed a sigh of relief. This battle had truly been perilous. Fortunately, they had won in the end. At the same time, in the Chixing Zone, God Lord Stellar Aspect, who was in the middle of repairing and laying down the teleportation array, instantly became enraged. His body trembled, and a trickle of blood trickled down the corner of his lips. Chapter 1400. God Lord Stellar Aspect. All the members of my ancient soul hall are dead. God Lord Gloomhaven's body trembled as he whispered. Those peak rank 8 and rank 9 ancient gods were secondary, but 3 half-step God Lords had perished. Anyone who could become a half-step God Lord had a sliver of hope of becoming a God Lord. The surrounding atmosphere was incomparably oppressive, and everyone shuddered in fear. Just what sort of dangerous place was the ancestral legacy treasury? All those who entered, including 3 half-step God Lords, had died. Many of the people who had been fighting to get in immediately rejoiced. Fortunately, they had not gone in to die. My disciple has also met with misfortune. God Lord Stellar Aspect whispered. Upon hearing this, God Lord Gloomhaven's expression slightly relaxed. Since Yu Hang could become God Lord Stellar Aspect's disciple, he had to be a member of the Heaven's Legacy race. This meant that God Lord Stellar Aspect's losses were even greater than ancient soul halls. However, if God Lord Gloomhaven were to learn that Yu Hang also had the bloodline of the ancient race, Yu Hang's value would be comparable to all of ancient soul hall. What kind of place is that ancestral legacy treasury? Is it that dangerous? God Lord Gloomhaven directly asked. He sensed that this ancestral legacy treasury definitely contained some extraordinary secret, or else the Heaven's Legacy race would not have placed such importance on it. The surrounding ancient soul hall members immediately perked up and listened. The ancestral legacy treasury you speak of was actually a divine kingdom of the Light Clan, but it fell into the hands of the giant God Clan later. God Lord Stellar Aspect simply said, Divine Kingdom? The majority of the ancient soul hall members were taken aback. The predecessor of a divine kingdom was a small world. However, the small world was too simple and fragile. As one's cultivation increased, it gradually lost its use. But once one reached the God Lord level, They could use the power of a law to transform it into a divine kingdom. I see. God Lord Gloomhaven was stunned. He finally understood why the Heaven's legacy race cared so much about the light race divine kingdom. Whoosh! A damaged supreme quality god crystal appeared in God Lord Stellar Aspect's hand. There's more. God Lord Gloomhaven was left speechless. This isn't enough. Teleporting a divine master consumes too much energy. Call another divine master over. The three of us divine masters will work together. God Lord Stellar Aspect barked. At this moment, he could no longer wait. By the Tree of Time, everyone entered their respective cultivation spaces to recover from their injuries and energy consumption. This was especially true for Exine Wuheng and Twilight Valley, the two main pillars. Constantly using God Lord level energy had placed an enormous burden on their bodies. If they did not properly recuperate, they would be hindered in their future advancements. Within the space-time robe dimension, swoosh, Zhao Feng took out some precious materials to heal his divine body and soul, then swallowed them directly. Then, he divided his thoughts into two. A part of his consciousness absorbed the harvest from this great battle. In this battle with the half-step god Lord Yuheng, who possessed the ancient race bloodline, he had gained much. The most obvious change was that Zhao Feng had a deeper understanding of some profound meanings. His realm had increased a lot. Once he finished digesting all this, Zhao Feng's rank 9 ancient god cultivation would probably stabilize. As for the last part, Zhao Feng used it to investigate the god's spiritual eye. He still remembered that when saving the little thieving cat, his god eye illusory oblivion hadn't succeeded, and he hadn't used any other eye bloodline techniques. But the mysterious flame at the center of the little thieving cat's forehead had suddenly weakened. Although Zhao Feng still didn't know why, it was definitely related to his left eye. Let's try it. With a thought from Zhao Feng, a blazing red flame ignited in the air. Zhao Feng began to circulate his origin energy. His left eye spun out dreamy mist that fused with the world around him. In a flash, the world in front of Zhao Feng became dazzlingly beautiful. Everything was covered in dreamy colors. Even the distant black destruction, serpent dragon, appeared to be a serpent of many colors. Bzz. Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the dazzling flame in the air. This time, Zhao Feng did not use the god eye illusory oblivion, only focused on the dazzling flame. But after a long time, the flame continued to burn in the air without any change. How could this be? Zhao Feng was rather confused. Earlier, he had also been staring at the mysterious flame at the center of the thieving cat's forehead. He hadn't used any eye bloodline technique, but the flame had suddenly weakened. Why wasn't it working now? Right, it might have something to do with my thoughts. Zhao Feng had a flash of inspiration. Back then, besides focusing all his attention on the mysterious flame, he also had an intense thought. He hoped that the mysterious flame would weaken. Just because of a thought. Zhao Feng found this rather absurd. He hadn't used an eye bloodline technique, but the mysterious flame had weakened just because he hoped for it to weaken. Wasn't that too inconceivable? But there were no other doubts. He could only try. Zhao Feng once more focused on the flame in the air. Weaken, weaken, he kept thinking to himself. All of a sudden, a shocking scene appeared. Whoosh! The flame in the air shrank to half its original size. Is that really the case? Zhao Feng was stunned and then ecstatic. After using the power of origin, he could change an object with a single thought. Let's try again. Zhao Feng once more focused his mind on the ball of flame. Extinguish, extinguish. This time, Zhao Feng hoped that the flame would be extinguished. As expected, the flame suddenly disappeared, as if it had never existed. It's true. Zhao Feng was dazed. There was such a strange and miraculous thing in the world. But after thinking about it, he could only attribute it to the god's spiritual eye. Let's try something else. Zhao Feng's interest was instantly piqued. Boom! Zhao Feng directly punched out a giant chaotic silver fist of light. He then circulated his origin energy and focused on the chaos origin divine fist. Multiply the power. This was Zhao Feng's thought this time. But the massive Chaos Origin Divine Fist showed no reaction. On the contrary, Zhao Feng's origin energy was rapidly draining away. This made it impossible for Zhao Feng to remain calm. The Chaos Origin Divine Fist did not get any stronger, but his origin energy was rapidly draining away. Because the battle had just concluded, Zhao Feng didn't have much origin energy left, so he quickly ran out. Why isn't it working again? Zhao Feng cross-legged on the ground and began to think. Buzz. BZZ. At this moment, the space-time robe dimension faintly trembled. What happened? Zhao Feng immediately left the dimension. Outside, everyone else was standing on the barren ground. This divine kingdom has a spatial ripple. It seems like an outsider is trying to force his way in. Twilight Valley straightforwardly said. The tree of time had not completely withered and was still connected to him, so he could sense it. Impossible. Didn't you cut off Yu Hang's communication method? Ancient God Resplendence grimaced as she immediately asked. That might be the case, but once Yu Hang dies, the Heaven's Legacy race will definitely know. Twilight Valley sighed. Everyone instantly fell silent. At a time like this, only the Heaven's Legacy race had the ability to enter this dimension. Heaven's Legacy race. Xian Wuheng's expression darkened. The battle had just ended and none of them had fully recovered. If a few more members of the Heaven's Legacy race came, they would probably all die here. Is there no way to stop them? Zhao Feng straightforwardly asked. If they're below the God Lord level, we might be able to stop them. Twilight Valley slowly said. But it was obvious that if the Heaven's Legacy race sent someone else, it would definitely be a God Lord expert. If the Tree of Time hadn't withered, no one would be able to get in here. Ancient God, Cheng Yun somewhat reluctantly said. Let's try. Perhaps it'll work. Zhao Feng straightforwardly said. The others nodded. Now truly was not the time to give up. It's over there. Twilight Valley suddenly sensed something and waved his hand. A gray and white mist immediately appeared in the sky. Within the mist was a certain place outside the ruined fortress. The space there was fiercely shuddering and rippling. However, at this moment, everyone's gazes were not focused on the rippling void. Instead, they were focused on the situation below. There were two enormous and complicated formations in that place. Next to the arrays were two women, their backs to the group. One of them was a petite girl dressed in green and had fair skin. The other was a tall woman dressed in white, her exquisite body faintly discernible, and her black hair was like a waterfall drifting in the wind. She exuded an aloof, noble, cold, and unfathomable aura. In addition, this white-clothed woman had a silver-black cat perched on her shoulder, its posture lazy. What's going on here? The Heaven's Legacy race has already come? Twilight Valley called out in alarm. The Heaven's Legacy race should have been attempting to enter this place. So why were there still members of the Heaven's Legacy race here? The reason these two women were members of the Heaven's Legacy race was naturally because of the Heaven's Legacy cat. Big lazy cat. Zhao Feng was stunned. Meow meow. The little thieving cat immediately called out. A dusty memory appeared in the minds of the two of them. It was the Six Warlock Divine Tower of the Canopy Great Country, where a legendary individual called the Six Warlock Divine Sage lived. Next to the sage was a lazy cat. Big lazy cat, let's begin. The white-clothed woman immediately said. Meow meow. The big lazy cat jumped onto a teleportation array and began to grope around with its claws. Kaboom! The massive array immediately surged with powerful space-time energy that swept through the world, altering space-time. The rippling rift suddenly returned to its calm state. Big Sister Qin, what are we doing here? The green-clothed woman asked. I didn't ask you to come. You were the one who insisted on coming. The white-clothed woman replied with a smile. Okay, it's time to leave. The white-clothed woman said, and then she, the green-clothed woman, and the big lazy cat went to another massive array. The array activated, and the two humans and one cat vanished through the portal. God Lord Stellar Aspect has gone in. There should be no problems now, right? God Lord Gloomhaven's face was rather pale. The three of them had expended a significant amount of energy to activate the teleportation array just now. Buzz. BZZ. At this moment, the metal array platform in front of them suddenly began to tremble. The spatial portal within the array also began to twist. Whoosh! A silhouette flew out from within and crashed not far away. If one looked carefully, one would see that it was God Lord Stellar Aspect. Plush. God Lord Stellar Aspect vomited blood, his face filled with shock and anger. There's actually a reverse teleportation array in the Divine Kingdom. Who created it? Anyone other than a member of the Heaven's Legacy race would find it very difficult to set up such a complex array, and a reverse teleportation array was even more complex than a teleportation array. At the same time, bang, the octagonal metal array platform exploded. Chapter 1401. In a separate dimension within the ruined ancient fortress, everyone stood beneath the tree of time in shock and confusion. The big lazy cat and that person. Zhao Feng fell into thought. Logically speaking, the big lazy cat should have been with the sixth warlock sage. Strangely enough, that mysterious and noble woman in white gave Zhao Feng an inexplicable sense of familiarity, making Zhao Feng even more anxious to see her true appearance. Alas, from start to finish, the two women had only shown their backs. They left. They left this dimension. Twilight Valley said, even with the ancient god seal, I couldn't open a path to the outside world, but they were able to leave. Xi and Wuheng was shocked and confused. They clearly know where the hole in this dimension is, and that Heaven's Legacy array is also of an extremely high level. Twilight Valley was experienced and had sharp eyes. Those two women were from the Heaven's Legacy race. They should have been here before, so why did they leave? Ancient God Resplendent's mind was filled with questions. If those two women were from the Heaven's Legacy race, they were probably Yu Heng's accomplices. Now that Yu Heng was dead, those two women had not come to take revenge, but had instead left this dimension. I'm not too sure about that, but I do know that the first formation activated by the two of them and the Heaven's Legacy cat was able to stop the outsiders that were trying to barge into this place. Twilight Valley slowly spoke. Even he found it hard to believe that this was true. How could this be? Ancient God Resplendence was flabbergasted. After a major battle, the Light Race and Giant God Race now trusted and accepted each other, and the two sides were extremely friendly. Your Excellency, does this mean that those two Heaven's Legacy race women helped us? Ancient God Chung Yun found this somewhat hard to believe. The Heaven's Legacy race had actually helped them? This also means that the danger is over. Ancient God Resplendence was elated. Originally, Twilight Valley's claim that an outsider was trying to break in had made everyone extremely nervous. Later on, they discovered two women who seemed to be from the Heaven's Legacy race. However, in the end, those two women had managed to help them resolve the crisis they were in. Not necessarily. The person who wanted to break into this place was only stopped. Maybe there will be another operation. Twilight Valley's expression darkened. Your Excellency, is there a way to revive the Tree of Time? Ancient God Chung Yun respectfully asked. The Tree of Time was the core of the Divine Kingdom. Once it completely awakened, Twilight Valley would gain initial control over the Divine Kingdom. If outsiders wanted to barge in, everyone's resistance would be much higher. Moreover, when the time came, Twilight Valley could repair the holes in the Divine Kingdom, greatly increasing the difficulty for outsiders to infiltrate. Let me try. Twilight Valley slightly creased his brow and nodded. If he was at his peak, it would be a piece of cake for him to revive the Tree of Time. With his current means, the possibility of reviving the Tree of Time was very low, but he still had to give it a try. Everyone, whenever you want to leave, I will send you out. Suddenly, Twilight Valley turned to the Giant God Race and Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, Xi and Wuheng, and Ancient God Resplendence all expressed that they wanted to stay a while longer. After all, they hadn't fully recovered from their wounds, and this place was the best place to cultivate time power Upanishad. If they could comprehend time power Upanishad to a certain level, their overall competence would increase tremendously. All right, if you want to leave, just tell me directly. Twilight Valley chuckled. After all, the fact that the light race divine kingdom was preserved and that they were still alive was all thanks to Zhao Feng and the giant god race. Twilight Valley naturally wouldn't take advantage of this and immediately drove them away. Besides, the light race also needed allies. Senior Twilight Valley, ancient god Qingyun, is a member of the giant god race. Xian Wuheng mentioned ancient god Qingyun. Ancient god Qingyun was originally a member of the giant god race, a peak rank 8 with decent talent. At a time like this, the giant god race was even more in need of manpower and powerful fighting power. It would be best if they could do their best to recover ancient god Qingyun's losses. This person's soul has already fused with mine. If I leave, his soul will be heavily injured, and he will lose both his foundation and potential. Ancient god, Qingyun said. This also meant that if his thought body left, ancient god Qingyun would no longer be the same ancient god Qingyun of the past. Let's do it this way. Let's treat it as a transaction between me and the giant god race. Ancient god Qingyun will belong to us, and we will give you a large batch of precious resources. These resources will be enough to raise 2 or 3 rank 9 ancient gods. What do you think? Twilight Valley proposed after a few moments of thought. Xian Wuheng and ancient god resplendence began to discuss. Although they were more profitable in terms of resources, ancient god Qingyun was a member of their race and had a decent giant god race bloodline. Right, I obtained some information from his memories. This ancient god, Qingyun, seems to have had secret dealings with ancient Soul Hall before. Ancient god, Qingyun added. What? Ancient god Qingyun? Ancient god resplendence immediately called out in alarm. At this moment, everything was clear. It was no wonder ancient Soul Hall attacked the moment Xian Wuheng obtained the ancient god seal. It turned out that it was because of the traitor ancient god Qingyun. In addition, ancient Soul Hall might have been able to come to this dimension because of ancient god Qingyun. Deal! Xian Wuheng immediately agreed. He would have preferred to have ancient god Qingyun recover so that he could be handed over to his race. But the revival of the giant god race was far more important. In addition, if he could form a good relationship with the light race and rope in a powerful ally like Twilight Valley, the giant god race would be even more confident in resisting ancient Soul Hall. Okay, in a few days, I will deliver the items to you. Twilight Valley straightforwardly said. The giant god race had also contributed greatly this time, but they had not obtained much in return. This was why Twilight Valley had made this proposal. The value of the ancestral artifact fragment far exceeded that of ancient god Qingyun. Zhao Feng, the ancestral artifact fragment is yours. Twilight Valley then turned to Zhao Feng. Compared to Zhao Feng, the giant god race's meager gains were almost negligible. Xian Wuheng and ancient god resplendence were both surprised and envious. Many thanks for your help. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. Zhao Feng, the light race has other important matters to attend to. I will follow the light race for now, and when you are about to leave this place, I will go with you. The ancestral artifact fragment floated in front of Zhao Feng and began to discuss with Zhao Feng. Okay. Zhao Feng thought for a few moments before agreeing. From Twilight Valley's appearance, it seemed like he didn't really need the ancestral artifact fragment. After all, he was a member of the light race and extremely skilled in time intent. At his peak, he was undoubtedly extremely powerful and had little need for the time-type ancestral artifact fragment. But from the ancestral artifact fragment's appearance, it seemed like it was still somewhat unwilling to accept Zhao Feng. The ancestral artifact fragment had always been with the light race, going through life and death situations. If the survival of the light race wasn't at stake, the ancestral artifact fragment naturally would not agree to the little thieving cat's proposal. In addition, although its impression of Zhao Feng had changed, it still couldn't compare to the light race. Whoosh, whoosh, Twilight Valley and ancient god Qingyun took the ancestral artifact fragment and left. As for Zhao Feng and the giant god race members, they continued to enter seclusion. Within the space-time robe, 100 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Zhao Feng returned to his peak state. Swish! Swish! A whirlpool of eye bloodline energy appeared in the air, and one strange treasure after another slowly emerged, 40 in number. These are the cultivation resources that Zhao Feng had duplicated in the last few days. The value and quality of these resources weren't very high, so duplicating them was rather simple. Little Black, these are all yours. Zhao Feng messaged the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. At the same time, he took out a large number of cultivation resources from his interspatial dimension and gave them all to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The resources that Zhao Feng had been using were all top class, and he had just broken through, so he was in no rush to get stronger. For this reason, Zhao Feng decided to give all the resources that he didn't really need to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. This many thanks, Master. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's eyes glowed as it kneeled. One had to realize that the majority of these cultivation resources were from the light race's divine kingdom. They were extremely old and rare. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had never seen so many rare resources in its entire life. After doing all this, Zhao Feng prepared to enter seclusion and consolidate his strength. But at this moment, BZZ, a powerful time shockwave swept through the world, causing the space-time road dimension to become somewhat unstable. What's going on? Zhao Feng left the space-time robe. Twilight Valley and ancient god Chungyun were standing in front of the Tree of Time. In front of them were many extremely precious treasures. Fruit of life, crystalline blood, heaven's spirit fruit. Zhao Feng muttered in shock. He only recognized a small portion of these precious resources. The fruit of life contained immense life energy. If a race with a bloodline like the giant god race was severely injured and on the verge of destruction, a fruit like this would allow them to instantly recover. The crystalline blood heaven spirit fruit was also a natural resource that could increase one's vitality, strengthen the body, and instantly heal injuries to the divine body. Besides these life-type resources, there were also many treasures infused with time essence. Buzz. Twilight Valley used a mysterious light race secret art to extract the essence of these treasures and pour it into the Tree of Time. But the Tree of Time absorbed less than 1/10,000th of this essence. And this bit of essence entering the Tree of Time was like a pebble falling into the sea. It had no effect on the sea at all. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, the giant god race members were alarmed and appeared. They naturally understood that Twilight Valley was trying to revive the Tree of Time. But the situation did not seem to be going very smoothly. Whoosh. A few moments later, Twilight Valley stopped using his secret art. My current level of cultivation is far from enough. Twilight Valley sighed. If they could not control the divine kingdom, they would always have to be on guard against intruders. No matter what they did, they would never feel at ease. Let me try. Zhao Feng's voice suddenly broke the silence. Everyone turned to Zhao Feng in shock. Brother Zhao, you have a plan? Even Xian Wuheng, who had always trusted Zhao Feng, was extremely doubtful. In terms of understanding of the Tree of Time, the light race had the absolute highest level of understanding. Not even Twilight Valley had a plan. So how could Zhao Feng have one? Twilight Valley and ancient god Qingyun were also extremely doubtful. But since Zhao Feng wanted to try, there was no harm in letting him try. Zhao Feng strode up to the Tree of Time and immediately began to activate his left eye. Dreamy mist began to spin out of his left eye. A moment later, the world in front of Zhao Feng's eyes transformed into a dreamy paradise. Chapter 1402. Previously, Zhao Feng had experimented in the space-time road dimension. He could change any object he wished, weakening or extinguishing the flame. But later on, when the target was the Chaos Origin Divine Fist, it became useless. Thus, Zhao Feng decided to use the Tree of Time as an experiment to see if the power to turn dreams into reality was real. Everyone stared at Zhao Feng. What's he doing? He's using an eye bloodline technique to restore vitality to the Tree of Time. The crowd softly muttered. Impossible. This Tree of Time is of an extremely high level. Ordinary vitality energy is completely useless. Moreover, the majority of the Tree of Time has already withered and died. Even if I use a secret technique of a light race to condense high-level vitality energy, the Tree of Time will find it very difficult to absorb. Twilight Valley shook his head. In order to revive the Tree of Time, he first had to resolve two problems. The first was vitality energy that far surpassed that of an ordinary godlord. The second was that the Tree of Time could absorb this vitality energy. Zhao Feng could not satisfy either of these requirements. Bzzee. The world in front of Zhao Feng's eyes began to change colors, making it seem like a dream. Restore vitality, revive. This thought emerged in Zhao Feng's mind as he stared at the Tree of Time. Whoosh! The origin energy in his left eye began to rapidly drain away. But the Tree of Time remained unchanged. And this time, Zhao Feng's origin energy was being drained away at an unprecedented rate. A few moments later, he had lost nearly half of his origin energy. Bzzee. Zhao Feng immediately stopped his left eye and closed it. If he continued like this, his origin energy would quickly vanish. Zhao Feng, don't force yourself. Not even I can do anything to the Tree of Time, Twilight Valley bluntly said. He had long ago predicted that Zhao Feng would fail, so he did not care too much. Why is it like this again? Zhao Feng's mind began to spin. It's just consuming origin energy, but there's no effect at all. No, perhaps there are some other limitations to this ability. Zhao Feng suddenly opened his eyes. He carefully compared the successes and failures and instantly came to a conclusion: the size and range of the target. Buzz. Zhao Feng's left eye once more surged with powerful ripples of eye intent. You haven't given up yet? Ancient God, Cheng Yin whispered. The rest of the people present also shook their heads slightly. They knew that Zhao Feng's eye technique was very magical, but it was not omnipotent. It could even revive the Tree of Time. Revive, revive. In Zhao Feng's heart, such a strong thought emerged. This time, Zhao Feng's left eye focused on a small branch of the Tree of Time. Buzz. Within the God Eye dimension, the dreamy silver ball trembled and released origin energy that fused with the world. In an instant, the dark gray withered tree branch suddenly became plump and flickered with a layer of white light, fluctuating with the power of time. You succeeded? How is this possible? One of the branches of the Tree of Time has been revived. The crowd stared at the tree branch in disbelief. Logically speaking, if a tree were to recover its vitality, it would have to start slowly from its roots. However, at this moment, only one branch of the Tree of Time had recovered to its original state. The rest of the Tree of Time was still withered. Success. Zhao Feng's left eye stopped operating, a look of joy on his face. The success he cared about was not the Tree of Time, but the new ability of his left eye. Just as Zhao Feng expected, the ability to turn dreams into reality did exist, but the target could not be too large, or else it would fail. In addition, different situations required different amounts of origin energy. For example, extinguishing an ordinary flame consumed so little origin energy that it was almost negligible. But reviving the Tree of Time consumed even more energy. Zhao Feng, how did you do it? Twilight Valley was somewhat excited and immediately asked, why is it that only one branch has recovered to its peak state, while the rest of the Tree of Time seems normal? The ancestral artifact fragment couldn't help but ask, I used up a lot of energy and need to rest for a while. Zhao Feng half closed his left eye, appearing exhausted. This ability to turn dreams into reality was far too abnormal and absurd. At this stage, he could not allow it to get out. Zhao Feng entered the space-time robe and experimented a few more times. He discovered that it truly was due to the size and range of the target. Zhao Feng spent the rest of his time researching this ability. 1 month later, Zhao Feng had almost completely recovered. On the 3rd month in the space-time robe, the light race finally requested Zhao Feng's assistance. Zhao Feng, please help the light race revive the Tree of Time. If there's anything you need, please tell me. The light race will reward you handsomely. Twilight Valley got straight to the point. I need a large number of resources that can purify the soul and raise its level. Zhao Feng straightforwardly said, if he didn't need anything and just revive the Tree of Time, it would be strange if he didn't arouse suspicion. Okay, no problem. Twilight Valley agreed. Zhao Feng began to revive the Tree of Time once more. This time, Zhao Feng started from the root. By using his origin energy, Zhao Feng was able to revive a small root. In the following period of time, Zhao Feng would awaken a small part of the Tree of Time's roots every so often. Once the root was revived, the Tree of Time had gained the ability to adjust itself. Even if Zhao Feng and Twilight Valley did nothing, the Tree of Time would completely revive after a certain period of time. Leave everything else to me, Twilight Valley straightforwardly said. Now that the Tree of Time's root had been revived, Twilight Valley would be able to revive the Tree of Time himself. At this point, he had gained initial control over the light race Divine Kingdom, and he had also temporarily repaired the major hole in the Divine Kingdom. This way, if someone from the outside world wanted to force their way in, it would be even more difficult. This kid, he actually managed to revive the Tree of Time. The ancestral artifact fragment was flabbergasted. Zhao Feng, what do you need? Just ask. Twilight Valley smiled. 2 supreme quality divine artifacts and a treasure that can help a peak rank 9 ancient god break through. Zhao Feng bluntly said. He was confident that Twilight Valley would have been extremely powerful at his peak. 2 supreme quality divine artifacts would not have been a problem. Okay, choose for yourself. Twilight Valley faintly smiled. Swish. Space rippled, and several divine artifacts flashing with various kinds of light and exuding powerful auras appeared in front of Zhao Feng. 10 supreme quality divine artifacts. Zhao Feng was stunned. There were 3 heavens of God Lords. A normal first heaven God Lord would have 2 supreme quality divine artifacts at most, but Twilight Valley had taken out 10. Of course, this was not the time to worry about such things. Zhao Feng needed to choose the supreme quality divine artifacts he needed. He had the space-time robe, the 9 lightning soul-refining mirror, and the ancestral artifact fragment. He basically had no lack of supreme quality divine artifacts. Thus, Zhao Feng was choosing supreme quality divine artifacts for others. After some careful selection, Zhao Feng took a red pearl inscribed with a dragon and an ancient scarlet umbrella. The Dragon Flame Pearl and Scarlet Flame Lightning Umbrella you chose are both of decent quality among these supreme quality divine artifacts. Twilight Valley praised. Many thanks. Zhao Feng smiled, extremely satisfied with these 2 supreme quality divine artifacts. I will send over the other cultivation resources you need in a little while. Twilight Valley straightforwardly said. Twilight Valley's primary mission was to revive the Tree of Time. When the time came, he would be able to do as he pleased in the light race's treasury. Gathering resources and treasures would also be much easier. Swish! Upon entering the space-time robe dimension, Zhao Feng bestowed the Dragon Flame Pearl upon the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. This, Master, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was overwhelmed by this favor and didn't know how to express its gratitude. Zhao Feng didn't explain much and entered the ancient dream realm. Your Excellency, the Blood Flame Qilin race patriarch charged out and respectfully called out. He could clearly sense that Zhao Feng had already become a rank 9 ancient god. Not even the spiritual race could compare to this cultivation speed, so he was even more certain that Zhao Feng was the 9th god eye. Take it. Zhao Feng immediately took out the Scarlet Flame Lightning Umbrella. The Scarlet Flame Lightning Umbrella, a supreme quality divine artifact that combines both offense and defense. The blood-flame Chelan race patriarch's eyes flashed as he immediately recognized this supreme quality divine artifact. It didn't take long before Zhao Wan arrived. In the ancient dream realm, Zhao Wan had enjoyed very good treatment and resources, and he was now a rank 8 ancient god. Zhao Feng then gave him the deep chill pearl he had obtained from ancient god Ice Jade. With this, the main fighting force of Zhao Feng's team now had a supreme quality divine artifact, greatly boosting their fighting power. After taking many resources from the blood flame Chelan race, Zhao Feng returned to the space-time robe. These are all yours. Zhao Feng gave the vast majority of the resources he had obtained from the ancient dream realm to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon undoubtedly had more potential than the others. Master, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon found it difficult to express its excitement. In this period of time, the resources that Zhao Feng had given it could pile up into a small mountain. For the first time, it felt that Zhao Feng was very noble. 3 months later, Twilight Valley delivered quite a few cultivation resources that could help him make a breakthrough, and he also gave the ancestral artifact fragment to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng divided these resources equally between Zhao Wan, Zhao Wang, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and the Blood Flame Chelan race. With the supreme quality divine artifact and these resources, the strength and cultivation of everyone in his team had taken a massive leap. Zhao Feng began to refine the ancestral artifact fragment. At this moment, the ancestral artifact fragment seemed to approve of Zhao Feng, perhaps because Zhao Feng had revived the Tree of Time. With the ancestral artifact fragment's cooperation, Zhao Feng was able to refine the ancestral artifact fragment in just 2 months. Before refining it, Zhao Feng's time intent had already reached level 7. But in the process of refining the ancestral artifact fragment, he had unwittingly reached peak rank 7, as expected of an ancestral artifact fragment. In the future, cultivating time intent should be no problem at all. Zhao Feng was pleasantly surprised. Of course, in the process of refining the ancestral artifact fragment, Zhao Feng also split off a great deal of his mind to cultivate other aspects. Other than his space-time intent, his other intents had all received significant boosts. The Chaos Origin Void Origin technique had been completely consolidated and had also improved. In addition, Zhao Feng had consumed a large number of lightning soul crystals and the soul-type resources he had obtained from Twilight Valley. At this time, his soul intent had also been consolidated at peak rank 9. With the control of the ancestral artifact fragment, Zhao Feng's ability to use time intent had become even stronger. The flow of time in the space-time robe had reached a ratio of 50-1. As time passed, Zhao Feng's cultivation and reserves slowly accumulated. One day, Exine Wuheng came to find him. "Brother Zhao, we're preparing to leave. What are your plans?" Chapter 1403. The Scarlet Iron Mountain Range spanned tens of millions of miles. It was incomparably hot, and no one below the true god level dared to set foot in this place. At this moment, somewhere in the Crimson Mountain Range, there was a very long group of people rapidly advancing. At the front of the group was a red-skinned, white-haired old man. His tall body was covered with many shocking scars, and his deep eyes seemed a little dim. Whoosh! A voluptuous and beautiful woman immediately flew to the front. This woman was none other than ancient god Stillmoon, who had gone with ancient god Sundermount to the Antean Zone to search for Zhao Feng. "Great Elder, are you all right?" Ancient god Stillmoon asked in concern. Earlier, in order to stop ancient Soul Hall's assault, the Grand Elder had used a forbidden art and consumed his origin energy to stop 2 god lords of ancient Soul Hall. "It's nothing serious." The Great Elder looked ahead and said calmly. "This time, our giant god hall suffered grievous casualties. Less than 100 members survived." Ancient god Stillmoon had a sorrowful expression. "The sacrifice was worth it. Once Exen Wuheng returns with his clansmen, my giant god race will rise again." The first elder's gaze suddenly became extremely firm. The giant god race had managed to last until today precisely because of the existence of the ancient god seal. Once the ancestral legacy treasury was opened, the giant god race would rapidly rise. Every member of Giant God Hall firmly believed that after Xian Wuheng emerged from the ancestral legacy treasury, he would lead the giant god race back into the world, and the Grand Elder was no exception. At this moment, the giant god race still wants to rise? A mocking laughter came from the dark red sky. Not good. The first elder's expression changed, and his body trembled. Who is it? Ancient God Stillman's face chilled as she stared forward. The other members of Giant God Hall's group immediately looked shocked and prepared for battle. Wang Hu. The red mist rolled, and nearly 30 figures slowly appeared. Although there were only 30 of them, 10 of them were ancient gods, and the other 20 were the best of the best among the true gods. Looks like you're really weak. You actually didn't notice me in advance. The leader of the group was a slender, fair-skinned, gloomy man. He spoke with an evil voice. Rumble. The world instantly darkened and was filled with a gloomy and evil aura. Quite a few members of Giant God Hall's squad were seriously injured and had low cultivations. They were curled up on the ground, trembling. God Lord Evil Spirit. The Great Elder's eyes darkened as he stared at the slender and evil-looking man. At the same time, he exuded the energy of a God Lord to resist the invisible energy of God Lord Evil Spirit. Great Elder, your injuries. Ancient God Stillmoon couldn't help but look at the Grand Elder. Logically speaking, the Grand Elder was far stronger than Ancient Soul Hall's God Lord Evil Spirit. But the Grand Elder failed to sense God Lord Evil Spirit's arrival. From the looks of it, the Great Elder's injuries were probably very serious. What did you mean by your words just now? The Grand Elder's expression was extremely grim as he stared at God, Lord Evil Spirit. Then let me tell you, my Ancient Soul Hall has long since made preparations and sent people into the ancestral legacy treasury. I'm afraid that Xian Wuheng and the others are already dead. God Lord Evil Spirit did not try to hide anything and directly spoke. What? This is impossible. The Great Elder questioned angrily. The other members of Giant God Hall also did not believe this and began to express their doubts. Truly ignorant. If it weren't for the fact that we had to deal with Xian Wuheng's group and Ancient Soul Hall's God Lords couldn't free themselves, would any of you have survived until now? God Lord Evil Spirit's shrill laughter made one's hair stand on end. In a flash, a sinister and heavy energy engulfed the minds of all the members of Giant God Hall. Indeed, given Ancient Soul Hall's strength, if it had sent 2 God Lords to pursue them, Giant God Hall would have been destroyed long ago. Plush. The Grand Elder vomited blood, a look of despair on his face. Old scoundrel, I'll send you down. God Lord Evil Spirit bellowed as he thrust out a palm. Whoosh, whoosh. 3 skeletal evil spirits wearing black robes lunged at the Grand Elder. These evil spirits moved with incredible speed, their evil soul energies instantly appearing in front of the Grand Elder. Boom! Bang! The first evil spirit directly rushed over, scuttling into the Great Elder's soul, blasting him several miles away. Then, the second and third evil spirits pounced on him. Grand Elder, Ancient God Stillmoon called out in alarm. As expected, their Grand Elder was grievously wounded. A casual blow from God Lord Evil Spirit was enough to defeat him. The other members of Ancient Soul Hall also grimaced, but they were too weak, incapable of affecting God Lord Evil Spirit's attacks in the slightest. The second and third evil spirits were about to enter the Grand Elder's soul. Suddenly, a ripple of divine power came from behind the Giant God Hall members. Who said I was dead? A deafening voice could be heard, causing the entire place to buzz. Xian Wuheng. God Lord Evil Spirit's eyes focused and his face paled. How could this be? How could Xian Wuheng have survived? Wuheng. The Grand Elder was extremely familiar with this voice, and his eyes immediately flashed with a strange light. But God Lord Evil Spirit's attack was already extremely close. The weakened Grand Elder simply couldn't dodge in time. Swish! Space rippled, and then a dreamy silver figure appeared in front of the Grand Elder. Buzz! BZZZ! Layers of space-time barriers extended out of the space-time robe, weakening the two evil spirits. Zhao Feng extended a hand, condensing a ball of turbid silver chaos origin divine power and firing it. Boom! Swish! The chaos origin divine power slammed into the two evil spirits, creating a devouring energy. The two forces only lasted for a few moments before vanishing. Zhao Feng, the Grand Elder, came to his senses and looked at the youth in front of him. It truly was Zhao Feng. But wasn't Zhao Feng just a rank 8 ancient god? Now, he was able to block an attack from a god lord. Boom! At this moment, Xian Wuheng's figure flickered through the sky toward God, Lord Evil Spirit. Before it even landed, a huge white finger aura condensed and blasted out. God Lord Evil Spirit grimaced, and with a wave of his hands, two gloomy divine power vortexes appeared in the air. Whoosh! Xian Wuheng's finger of energy collided with the gloomy divine power vortexes, but after a few moments, they shattered. You actually managed to come out alive? God Lord Evil Spirit asked in confusion. Ancient Soul Hall had sent 3 half-step God Lords into the Ancestral Legacy Treasury to kill Xian Wuheng and seize the Ancient God Seal. But now, Xian Wuheng was standing right in front of him. Let me tell you something. Every member of Ancient Soul Hall that entered the Ancestral Legacy Treasury is dead. Xian Wuheng's face was cold as he said directly, "That's impossible." God Lord Evil Spirit immediately retorted in shock. At this moment, the other members of Ancient Soul Hall began to retreat. "Nothing is impossible," Xian Wuheng called out, and then he circulated his divine power and law energy, firing off several beams of energy. Kaboom! One massive beam of energy after another pierced through the gloomy world and shot toward God, Lord Evil Spirit. Half-step God Lord. Law energy. God Lord Evil Spirit's expression darkened. According to the intelligence reports, Xian Wuheng was only a rank 9 ancient god, but he was now a half-step God Lord. If he didn't know Xian Wuheng's true identity, God Lord Evil Spirit would have never believed this to be true. Even if your cultivation in your last life far surpassed mine, you're only a half-step God Lord now. You want to fight with a God Lord? God Lord Evil Spirit's face was savage and cold. Swish! 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 Suddenly, one black-robed skeleton evil spirit after another emerged from God, Lord Evil Spirit's body, more than 1,000 of them. Bone-devouring ghost claw. God Lord Evil Spirit roared. The countless black-robed evil spirits gathered their claws together, forming a massive sinister ghost claw that slashed forward. Boom! Bang! Crash! Massive crystalline figures were torn apart by the sinister ghost claw. I don't care how you managed to come out alive, but since you ran into me, I'll have you die now. God Lord Evil Spirit sinisterly laughed. Suddenly, a spatial ripple appeared behind him. Buzz. BZZZ. Zhao Feng extended a palm, sending out a torrent of turbid silver chaos origin divine power. A moment later, this chaos origin divine power had condensed into a massive sword. Chaos origin divine sword slash. Zhao Feng fiercely swung his right hand. Swoosh! The turbid silver chaos origin divine sword slashed at God, Lord Evil Spirit. Wherever the long sword passed, the void would distort and all kinds of elemental energies would be devoured by it. The Chaos Origin Divine Sword was a powerful combat skill of the 4th level of the Chaos Heaven Void Origin Technique. A trifling rank 9 ancient god dares wait. God Lord Evil Spirit's face was filled with disdain. In the eyes of God Lords, rank 9 ancient gods were ant-like existences, completely unremarkable. But just when he was about to dodge, he realized that a profound time energy had descended upon his body. Moreover, he could sense a sliver of a time law in this time energy. Swoosh! Zhao Feng's sword slashed down, leaving behind a deep wound on God, Lord Evil Spirit's body. God Lord Evil Spirit sensed that much of the energy in his body was being devoured by the Chaos Origin Divine Sword. In this process, several dozen evil spirits were destroyed by Zhao Feng. Brat, you're seeking death. God Lord Evil Spirit's face was extremely cold and sinister. If he had been injured by Exine Wuheng, he might have had a reason, but he had been careless and was injured by a rank 9 ancient god. Die! God Lord Evil Spirit's sharp and ruthless voice resounded through the air. In a flash, the world rumbled as a powerful energy gathered, carrying several hundred black-robed skeletons and evil spirits as they surged toward Zhao Feng. No god lord would have a low level of space intent. The attacks of a god lord could basically affect space and prevent their opponent from using instant movement. Bzzz. Zhao Feng activated the space-time robe, his body shrouded in a layer of light as he flew through the air. This kid is this fast. God Lord Evil Spirit was taken aback. Logically speaking, a casual attack from him could kill a rank 9 ancient god. But Zhao Feng was already extremely fast, and time energy could also increase his speed. Thus, Zhao Feng could even dodge an attack from a god lord. At the same time, Exine Wuheng activated his giant god race bloodline and attacked God, Lord Evil Spirit with all his might. 5 elements law-shattering palm. Exine Wuheng unleashed a massive palm of 5-colored vortex energy. Wherever it went, it drove away the gloomy fog and killed the black-robed skeleton evil spirits. I can't fight Exine Wuheng in close combat. God Lord Evil Spirit's expression darkened. Although Exine Wuheng was only a half-step God Lord, he could use many laws. Coupled with his profound understanding of intent, he could fight against a God Lord. Space-time barrier. Zhao Feng saw that God Lord Evil Spirit was preparing to flee, so he activated the space-time robe and unleashed layers of white afterimages. In a flash, God Lord Evil Spirit was affected by space-time energy, and his speed was restrained. Why does this kid's time intent also contain a time law? God Lord Evil Spirit stared at Zhao Feng in confusion. Laws were the techniques of God Lords. If he hadn't been reborn, how could a mere rank 9 ancient god know a law? God Lord Evil Spirit could never have imagined that Zhao Feng had an ancestral artifact fragment. Even if Zhao Feng didn't directly use it, his time intent would still be strengthened, and he could borrow a sliver of time law. Chapter 1404. Not even ordinary rank 9 ancient gods would dare to recklessly engage in a battle between god lords. The other members of Giant God Hall and Ancient Soul Hall were watching from 2 sides. Lord Wuheng. The eyes of all the members of Giant God Hall flashed. Exine Wuheng's return had undoubtedly brought them hope, leading them out of the darkness. Wuheng has actually grown to this level. The Grand Elder stared at Exine Wuheng in excitement. Exine Wuheng was only a half-step God Lord, but he had the strength to fight against a First Heaven God Lord. One had to realize that before entering the Ancestral Legacy Treasury, Exine Wuheng had only been a rank 9 ancient god. In addition, Zhao Feng's growth was even more inconceivable. He had gone from rank 8 ancient god to rank 9 and was even able to participate in a god lord battle. Ancient God Resplendence. Just what did you experience in the Ancestral Legacy Treasury? The Grand Elder couldn't help but ask. Exine Wuheng and Zhao Feng weren't the only ones who had made major progress. Ancient God Resplendence had also broken into rank 9, and she appeared to be much stronger than an ordinary rank 9 ancient god. Elder, you should first recover from your injuries. We can discuss these matters later. Ancient God Resplendence immediately took out some resources that could heal the soul and the divine body. Soul nourishing grass, celestial blood glass fruit. The Grand Elder was slightly startled. The resources Ancient God Resplendence had taken out were not only extremely precious, but they were also extremely old, making them even more effective. It seemed like Xian Wuhing's group had reaped a great harvest in the ancestral legacy treasury. The giant god race now had a chance to rise again. Broom! In the distant horizon, the sounds of battle shook the heavens. Damn! What powerful time energy! God Lord Evil Spirit was inside the space-time barrier, so he immediately slowed down. Although Zhao Feng's space intent had reached level 8, it had little effect on God Lord Evil Spirit. More importantly, although his time intent was only at the peak of level 7, its effects were superb. Moreover, Zhao Feng had the space-time supreme quality divine artifact, the space-time robe, and he also had the invisible buff from the ancestral artifact fragment. Chaos Origin Divine Sword. Zhao Feng swung down with his raised right hand, and the massive silver sword once more accurately slashed at God, Lord Evil Spirit body. At this moment, God Lord Evil Spirit felt like some of the energy in his body was inexplicably sucked away. This kid's divine power is extremely powerful, comparable to the divine power of a half-step God Lord, and it's even stranger. God Lord Evil Spirit's eyes dimmed. At this moment, God Lord Evil Spirit unleashed a ripple of energy that shook the heavens and earth. A chaotic five-colored light appeared in front of Xian Wuhing. Xian Wuhing gazed in the direction that God Lord Evil Spirit had fled and calmly said. Xian Wuhing and Zhao Feng had worked together to push back the ancient Soul Hall God Lord. This sight was a massive shock to the members of Giant God Hall. But in truth, God Lord Evil Spirit had chosen to retreat out of fear of the Grand Elder. Now that they were out of danger, Xian Wuheng led the members of Giant God Hall elsewhere. At this time, Giant God Hall needed to rest and build up strength, and then slowly expand. 1 month later, the members of Giant God Hall arrived at a dangerous land. Relying on their God Lord abilities, they were able to move mountains and drain seas to reclaim their territory. On this day, Xian Wuheng was seated in a secret hall in Giant God Hall's new territory. It was all thanks to Brother Zhao's help that we were able to return alive. Xian Wuheng was the first to speak. This time, the upper echelon members present had no objections to Zhao Feng, and they even greeted him with smiles and respect. Even the Grand Elder's attitude had become extremely friendly. Based on how Zhao Feng and Xian Wuheng had worked together to push back God, Lord Evil Spirit, Zhao Feng's future accomplishments would be no less than Xian Wuheng's. Befriending a genius like this would only bring benefits and no harm to Giant God Hall. Xian Wuheng gave a rough account of what had happened in the ancestral legacy treasury, but he did not mention a single word about Yu Heng. Yu Heng was a member of the Heaven's Legacy race. If the Giant God race learned that ancient Soul Hall had a relationship with the Heaven's Legacy race, it would undoubtedly deal a heavy blow. Many thanks, young friend Zhao, for helping my Giant God race. A few of the Giant God race members present smiled and spoke. What came next was the plan for the future development of the Giant God race. Xian Wuheng's group had obtained an extremely rich harvest this time. If used well, the Giant God race truly would be able to rise in a short time. Zhao Feng was not interested in any of this, so he left early. After leaving the hall, Zhao Feng went to find Kuan Yun and Nan Gongsheng. Before the battle, he had given Nan Gongsheng and Kuan Yun a few trump cards, allowing them to smoothly survive. Moreover, after experiencing the tempering of this battle, both of their cultivations and strength had improved tremendously. It's only been a short time since we last met, but your strength has already reached such a level. Kuan Yun was extremely envious. I was able to survive this time thanks to your help. Nan Gongsheng was a little less talkative. He still viewed Zhao Feng as a competitor, but Zhao Feng's current strength had reached a level that he would find difficult to catch up to. After spending a few days in Giant God Hall's new territory, Zhao Feng asked for his leave. Ever since he had secretly left the spiritual race, he had never returned. Now that so much time had passed, he still had no idea how Zhao Yufei was doing. Brother Zhao, many thanks for this time. Xian Wuheng gratefully said. The Grand Elder had also come to personally send off Zhao Feng. When Zhao Feng first arrived, he had been extremely repulsed by Zhao Feng, but to his surprise, Zhao Feng had really done as Xian Wuheng had said and provided the giant god race with enormous assistance. Before leaving, the Grand Elder had even gifted Zhao Feng a small flying tool. The journey from the Qixing Zone to the spiritual race was long and dull, so a flying tool was even better. Whoosh! A simple and unadorned flying ship flew through the air. Zhao Feng had also begun his journey back to the spiritual race. The moment he entered the space-time robe, Zhao Feng noticed something strange. "Master, I've already broken into rank 9. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon happily said. Moreover, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had only used up half of the resources that Zhao Feng had given it. There was still plenty of room for growth. In addition, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was no longer a serpent dragon, but a true dragon. In the Ancestral Legacy Treasury, Zhao Feng had accidentally discovered a true dragon horn that could help the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon evolve even further, so he had Twilight Valley help him steal it. When using the reverse scale of the dragon race, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had almost reached the state of a true dragon. Now that it was using the Dragon Yuan essence of the true dragon horn, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had completely transformed into a true dragon. After becoming a true dragon, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's talent and potential had been further improved. Zhao Feng looked at the others. Zhao Wang had reached the peak of rank 8. Zhao Wan had reached rank 9, and the Blood-Flame Qilin Race Patriarch had become a half-step godlord. Zhao Feng was not satisfied with this. After giving a few words of advice, he began to cultivate. First, Zhao Feng planned to create a 4th clone. He had obtained a pair of Eyes of Space-Time from the God Eye ruins that were close to the quasi-God Eye level. If his 4th clone could control this pair of eyes, it would undoubtedly be of great help to Zhao Feng. In less than a month, Zhao Feng successfully split his soul, and the soul intent of his 4th clone had reached rank 9. Zhao Feng had long ago made preparations for his 4th clone's body. When reviving the Tree of Time, Zhao Feng had taken a branch. In the following period of time, Zhao Feng used his god Eye to duplicate this branch until he had enough copies to create a decent divine body. As he duplicated the branch, Zhao Feng split off a part of his mind to cultivate the Chaos Origin Divine Sword. The Chaos Origin Divine Sword was a powerful combat skill of the 4th level of the Chaos Heaven Void Origin technique. Zhao Feng had only just begun to learn it and had no complete control over it. In terms of power, the Chaos Origin Divine Sword was more than a level higher than the Chaos Origin Divine Fist. Moreover, he could control the Chaos Origin Divine Sword more freely, allowing him to engage in both close and long-range combat. As he cultivated the Chaos Origin Divine Power, Zhao Feng's various aspects of intent energy were also slowly increasing. In less than half a year, Zhao Feng had complete control over the Chaos Origin Divine Power. The increase in his intent energy also caused the power of the Chaos Origin Divine Sword to increase. Chaos Origin Divine Power is so powerful. If I could use it in an eye bloodline technique, with this idea in mind, Zhao Feng began to experiment. If he could fuse such powerful Chaos Origin Divine Power into an eye bloodline technique, its power would definitely be extraordinary. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.